feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop unfriend me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's stuff.
Hey, Hog Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at the DUM Show and his website. Yeah, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
What is going on, Don't Unfriend Me Nation?
Good morning, Don't Unfriend Me Nation. What are we doing?
Tonight's show is brought to you by Percival Flag Company and cool shirts from the Don't Unfriend Me store. Stop by the Don't Unfriend Me store first and then go over to pfcflags.com. Buy yourself a flag. The ones you see behind Olivia and I are all made in America. They are awesome. Go take a look. Got that one in fast. So we have to talk really. What just happened? Hold
Man,
on.
you look
Olivia,
fantastic.
It's the Olivia show. So holy shit.
Oh, there we go. He fixed it.
Adidas polos are in, folks. These things are not cheap. The most comfortable polo. Now, I had some Under Armour polos that were just they were the real stretchy ones. This is just like that. They're stretchy, but they go back into place. They're super cool, super comfortable. I haven't taken this one off in 4 days. No, that's a lie, but it doesn't matter. I love them. They're fantastic. They are all stitched. Oh, this side. All stitched, embroidered with the Don't Unfriend Me logo. Pretty darn cool. If you haven't had a chance to go stop by, they're a pretty penny. There's no doubt. They're expensive, but it's Adidas, and we don't sell cheap stuff over on the site. So go take a look. I think you'll be happy. They basically look like that. There it is. See? Great.
I love it.
With Rumble, I can't get on.
I'm not having. You always say this.
I
don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Rumble. Let's go see. Hold on. Rumble. Come on in. And my content, my channels. Let's find out. Oh, we're so close to 1,000 on Rumble.
I know.
It's right there.
It won't load for me.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. If you have not been to Rumble, get over to Rumble and subscribe. We're at 953. It's second largest growing channel. Now, Twitter, they're doing their thing again. They're throttling conservative voices. It really sucks. And it's a bummer because we made it to 5,300 followers, and then now it's just dropping. And it's just every day. I had a post that has been seen by 87,000 people. It's got 17,000 likes about Hillary Clinton, where she basically talks about abortion. She's like, all 50 states believe in some form of abortion. And she goes, we need to blah, 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 blah. And then my reply was, well, we're not all as comfortable with murder as you are. And it's absolutely I'm not kidding, dude. This thing it blew up. She banned me again. I don't know what's going on. She shadow bans me or something. Bans me and then I get unbanned. But Hillary Clinton is not fond of me, obviously. But yeah. Here.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. If I can, do you mind if I break in just for a 30-second spot here?
Yeah, sure.
Is that all right?
Sure.
I was in a Facebook debate today with a girl named Terry Kramer, and we were going back and forth, lively, with regard to which rights preempt all other rights. And I made the assertion with regard to the abortion claim that the very first and most important right is the right to life, because without that, none of the other ones matter. Sure. And she had nothing. I invited her to come on, but I'm seeing crickets. And I told her I was going to do this. Told her I was going to come on here and blast her and say, look, if you can't defend your position, you need to make better arguments then, lady.
They can't defend their position. This is what Hillary said. 1 year after the fall of Roe, remember, Americans overwhelmingly oppose banning abortions. Americans overwhelmingly oppose a federal abortion ban. All 50 states say no. That's not quite true. It's not quite true. What they're saying is unfettered access, that there needs to be some sort of abortion. Yes, but there needs to be limits to that. Everyone agrees. 73% of Americans overwhelmingly agree that there needs to be limits. Now, my response to her, once again, is some of us aren't as comfortable with murder as you are. 15.5 thousand interactions, 16,000 likes, 34 retweets, and 18 comments. It's doing great. And I've lost like 40 followers. To have a tweet go that large and not gain like 1,000 followers is ridiculous. There's guys on there who have had their accounts banned and 24 hours later have 150,000 followers. It's just stupid. I'm so sick of this throttling because I read the comments every day on videos and people are like, dude, you're the one podcast I watch. You're the only podcast I watch. Dude, you're so real. You're so honest. All of you guys are so relatable. And I'm just sitting here going, this is bullshit. It's really bullshit. I'm sick and tired of it. The throttling is just, I've had enough. Oh, well, we'll just have to deal with it. Anyway, so Amy, how are you today?
I'm good. I apologize again about Friday. Just
Whatever.
had, I know. I'll tell you,
You
guys
weren't
off
here?
camera what happened. I wasn't
You
here.
weren't here?
And I wasn't missed.
Oh, I didn't know.
I was not missed. Yeah. The whole thing.
I set
He
you
only
up for
said
that
your
one.
name about 30 times.
That's right, and it
Aw.
wasn't.
He
Well,
missed you.
and it was when it was when I was sleeping. It had nothing to do with the show. And Olivia just finally she turned over and slapped. It's funny because the other
So
night,
flat
Olivia.
to like
Olivia
secret.
will attest that I was in the middle of sleeping and I grabbed her pillow. Now her pillow weighs about 47 pounds because it's pure Tempur-Pedic. And I grab it and I take it from her and start using it like a Spartan shield because somebody came out of the bathroom in my dream and was trying to come at me. And I was trying to block him because they had a knife. And she's like, why? What? And I'm like, oh, I said, stop coming at me. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm not coming at you. And I said, you are. And she goes, no, I'm not. And you took
I was
my
like,
pillow.
You took my pillow.
And I'm like, I didn't. Oh, then reality kicked in. I'm like, okay, like I thought it was a
Right.
trash can lid or something in my dream. I used to do this all the time. Like if she would touch me, I'd have her wrapped up in a full Nelson. I mean, I was I was not that guy. You didn't want to touch me when I was sleeping. You didn't want to like, that's the way it was. Now I'm a teddy bear, but once in a while I have those dreams.
Yeah.
And I never hit, I never strike, but I'll like take her pillow and I'll beat her with the pillow.
Like
She's
Rob
like, "What's
Schneider
going-"
in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
Pillow
pillow
fight.
fight, yeah.
Boom. Anyway, Leroy, how are you
Accidentally
doing?
hit against the wall. I'm good, man. It was a good weekend. It was nice and relaxing. My kid cooked for me on my new Blackstone.
Aw.
My wife is out at a concert right now watching the Doobie Brothers, so I have the kids, which is great.
Oh
because
man, the Doobie Brothers broke up. How long you been down here? Name the movie. Oh, can you name the movie? Anyone name the movie
No.
for a free T-shirt?
I can't do that.
Oh,
one. don't know that.
I owe someone a free T-shirt. Liv, don't let me forget. I forgot to mail it to her. Don't let me forget. But free T-shirt to anyone who names that movie in the next 15 seconds. Oh man, the Doobie Brothers broke up. Shit. How long have you been down here? I don't know. Forever. I'm gonna throw another key on the fire.
Not a
5
clue.
seconds. 5 seconds.
Nope.
Oh, this is a great
Liv, are
movie.
you Googling it?
No.
No, she's writing down the note to send the T-shirt. All right, folks, I'm going to tell you, it's Romancing the Stone.
Oh, we just watched that
Yeah.
too.
It's Romancing the Stone with Michael Douglas and
It's a good movie.
it's such a good movie.
Ca-
Yeah, if you haven't
Kathleen,
seen it,
Kathy
Kathleen Turner. Kathleen
Turner. Yes.
Michael Douglas.
Yes.
Yeah, Michael Douglas. And the next
She had the
one,
leg, man.
Jewel of the Nile, was absolute crap. But the first one was fantastic. It was so good. So good.
Yeah.
All right. We got a busy show tonight. So did a recorded show on Diablo. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, go do it. It's a good show. And it's got a message about God and video games and demons. And wow, it's how does it all come together? Well, I'll explain it to you. Josh, a very cool guy on the show who comes on once in a while, kind of had some things to say about the game, and I took some umbrage with it. And I made a show about it, and it's pretty respectful. I think you'll like it. Go watch it. It's a good show. We're diving into the Hunter Biden allegations here. This is huge since the coup in Russia, which wasn't a
Right
coup.
out of the gate. I love it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this whole thing with the Wagner Group. What did they say the other night? I was like, 26,000. Our intelligence community didn't know about this. It was literally over. This is an event, right?
State, right?
there's nothing like instability to create guesswork. I mean, let's look at Zelensky, right? Zelensky just said openly, that there may not be a free election next year. And he said, during wartime, it's our policy to not have free elections. I'm like, wait a second. You just had your government reinstalled in 2014. You're a democracy, and you're telling me that during wartime, you don't have elections? Who the hell said that?
Right.
This guy has censored the press. All opposition to his press. He's excommunicated out of the country.
Constitution on the fly, it sounds like, right?
That's
Like,
right.
just make up the rules as you go.
That's right. Take opposition press out of the framework. This guy reduced rights and would not let people leave the country and force them into service. There's obviously been war crimes. I mean, we have to openly admit in the Donbass region that Russian defectors were murdered and killed. And whether you consider that war or not, you don't target civilians. When are we just going to say this guy's a dictator just as bad as Putin? And I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to say it right here, we're going to be at war. We're going to be in a conflict with Ukraine, or they're going to go jump with China or jump with another country within the next 10 years. And we're going to be going and sending troops into there like Syria and every other country that we've got involved with. Leroy, do you have a thought? Amy, do you have a thought? Olivia, do you have a thought?
I have a thought. I mean, yeah, go ahead, Leroy, because you have the intelligent thought, and this is just my opinion. So you go first.
So there's a lot going on there, but big story made very small is that Matt's absolutely right. We could be in a situation where we're actively sending troops into the Donbass or Syria, any of the surrounding countries in order to prop up support, and it could turn into like another Afghanistan type situation. What we're talking about here is how power loves a vacuum, right? And when there's no one around you to kind of give that counterbalance, then shit falls apart quick. And the next biggest, baddest dictator will roll into town. Now, if Russia is truly on the outs, if things are dissolving as fast as we think they might be, and that's only a guess, it's an educated guess, it would behoove Zelensky to do exactly that, to jump in bed with the next biggest power or somebody that Russia is already friendly with, just so that he can get that backup to say, look, China, look, the friend of my friend is my enemy. Maybe not in this case, right? And so I think we have to be very careful with the way geopolitics rolls out in the next 3-5 years in that area.
Right. Don't give him F-16s and watch what happens. Right? Yeah. Don't give him what he wants and watch what happens. And it's going to take. How about this? How about when NATO says no? No, you're not coming in. Okay. Well, then where does he look for his protection? If they say no on NATO, then he is one of the only countries in that area that has no NATO protection whatsoever, and he's going to look for it from somewhere. So where does it come from? Amy, you're nodding your head. You got some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't here Friday, so I'm assuming you guys. I did not watch it. Like I said, I'll tell you off show what happened on Friday. But I didn't even see the show, so it was you
weren't here.
I was not here.
Oh,
no,
wow.
Sorry.
I just didn't know. Okay.
So
weird.
And moving on.
You're not gonna live this down. You know, it's just gonna keep going. Like I don't mind when it's a Wednesday. I don't even mind when it's a Monday. But Friday is sacrilege.
No, I know.
It's okay.
I know.
I'm kidding.
Like I said, I'll tell you guys. It was. Anyways,
okay, I'm teasing.
I do. I want to answer this properly. I have a question for you guys. In, do you think that Zelensky is going to, go with Russia, or do you think he'll try to piggyback off of somebody? I mean, not Russia. I'm sorry. I meant to say China. Do you think he'll try to piggyback off of someone else instead of China?
Like Leroy had some thoughts, but I think China would be too far of a stretch because, well, first of all, the whole reason China wants Russia as a bedfellow is not because they like Russia, just because it's politically and advantageous from a geographical standpoint. It covers a very large flank of China's ass. However, I would imagine it would be something else like Germany, which has kind of been on the outs with the United States from a political standpoint, but also weaponry.
Turkey.
Turkey is another one that might get involved, and I think there would be a little bit of a conflict from past, some past issues. But Germany, Turkey would be pretty good. One that terrifies me is Iran, and I think that's a very dangerous one because Russia and Iran are simpatico because of the arms that they trade, and they trade a whole bunch of weaponry. In fact, most of Iran's entire military makeup is supplied by Russia, some Saudi Arabia, and others, surprisingly enough. I mean, there's selling arms seems to be okay to do between countries, even if they hate each other. But I question how long that's going to take place, and is Iran going to be looking for a new bedfellow? And the reason why I say that is because Russia's weaponry is being depleted. So therefore, Iran's going to be on the open market. And the Chinese have been a little reluctant to give weaponry to Iran at a large scale because they know that that's dissolving relationships with the United States and other countries. So you may see them Iran look to Ukraine to say, now that this war is over, all that weaponry you have, we would love to buy some of that for you. And it would make an opportune moment for Ukraine to actually start providing weaponry for Iran. And it's extremely lucrative because that solves a lot of energy issues that they may have and gets them into the energy game. So to me, it's going to be a bedfellow we don't expect, and it's going to be one we don't like. But either way, that's 5 to 10 years away, but something that I guarantee this administration is not thinking about. I mean, this administration can't see their hands in front of their face, for God's sakes.
No.
So.
No. Let me add something real quick to that. Two sentences, and then I'll be done. China, Russia is a natural kind of union. Russia has energy in abundance, and China imports more than 80% of their energy. So that's just a natural union right there. But point number 2 is when we're talking about skirmishes in that area and the potential for U.S. to get involved later if Ukraine really does turn into like another Afghanistan, is think about how much we've given them in arms. Think about how much money and weaponry we've already given to Ukraine, and what is the potential, hopefully it's very, very low, but what is the potential that 5-10 years down the road, we could be sending troops in there and then fighting our own weaponry that we gave to them.
Yeah.
$80 billion worth of our missiles and ammunition could be slung right back at us. And that's a problem.
It's interesting. I'm not going to digress too much because I don't want to lose everybody. But just quickly, the one thing that people are going to say is, oh, well, they don't have an air force. Neither did Afghanistan. So enough said. So if it doesn't take a lot, and Olivia and I were talking about this when we were playing Diablo, and I hate to bring it back to this, but we always go to narrow passages. She's a caster and I'm a rogue, so we can't really stand and tank against heavy mobs because we'll just get rocked because we're a DPS class. Oh, holy shit. I just lost everybody. Okay. Rogues they wear leather. She wears cloth. We don't wear armor. So therefore, when we get hit,
I'm a magician.
We're a little spongy. Whatever. You're a you're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a sorceress.
You're a sorceress, Harry.
I cast magic.
Okay, whatever. So the point is that you go to a narrow corridor, so you face one mob at a time, head to head. So they have to funnel in, and then we just literally AOE, which is essentially do damage in circles around them, and it just flattens everybody. So the whole point is a grandma wielding a broom can hold certain points in Afghanistan, and that's why it was so effective. It didn't take modern-day weaponry. It took one person to 8 people wreaking havoc in narrow passages and canyons and mountainous areas where our equipment and flights couldn't go to because it's so high altitude to ultimately hold them off. Ukraine can do the same thing. They don't need an air force to be effective, as we have learned against Russia, which I told you the whole thing in Russia when I predicted that they could hold out was that they would have to fight the convoys and convoys of mechanized cavalry and tanks, APCs, those type of things. And we saw that Russia and new Russia wasn't logistically sound. And winter was coming, and Leroy and I said this. And then look what happened. They got their asses handed to them. Those columns were blown out of the sky. Ukraine cannot hold out forever, but if there continue to be provided weapons, there's not a lot of end in sight. Because remember, Russia does not have the size of the military to maintain 7 to 8 major cities. Those little pockets of resistance across all of those places, they've tried and they've failed miserably. All right, so we've addressed this, and I want to get. Did anyone else have anything, or can we move on?
We can move on, but we actually have a viewer who would like to call in.
Okay,
We're taking calls
about.
Right now. She wants to ask you and Leroy a question about National Guard and J6.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Karen, go
Okay.
ahead and call in, whatever.
Yeah, Karen. Don't be a Karen, Karen.
Right? Oh, there we are.
Matt and group, do you have a guild like WoW and Dabble? We sure do. It's called the DUM Show.
Yep, sure is.
Just go look up the DUM Show. Yeah, we already have like 6 members, and we've got a couple listeners on there. So, Tracy says the Wagner Group has just shot down an aircraft of Russia since this weekend. Yeah, they shot it down like 4 days ago. Then ran to another country close by. But I see Russia being somewhat civil war. If the citizens start getting tired of the people dying from Ukraine, looking for hope somewhere. Listen, I'm going to say something real quick. The Wagner Group shooting down an aircraft has not been confirmed. We might have somebody that can help us in the middle box who can confirm or deny that, but I haven't been able to confirm. Okay, we can't do that. I haven't been able to confirm it
Not
either.
saying a damn thing.
He's not saying a damn thing. I can't confirm it from my sources, and usually I'm pretty good at getting that information. Now, there's rumors and speculation, but here's what it comes down to. I know there was some exchange of fire back and forth. I know that for sure. I know Russian soldiers and regulars fired on the Wagner Group, and there was an exchange of small arms fire, but that's the extent of it. Here's what it comes down to. Mercenaries are not going to overtake Germany. It's going to be the Russian people, and it's going to have to be in the hundreds of thousands to make an effect. This is going to have to be either we're going to start murdering our people in the street and have worldwide global pressure put upon us until we relieve Putin, or they're going to surrender to the people. So Russia and revolution don't work very well. When you try to replace and do a coup, most coups fail in Russia. I'm just letting you know. History has said, in fact, there's never been a Russian president who has been successfully overturned in a coup, if I'm not mistaken. There's been military interventions by the KGB, and there's been assumptions that it took place, but most coups don't work. The last one that actually did was like 1917 with the Bolsheviks. So it's not inherently a good way for regime change. The best way is very similar to France and China, which would be the people standing up. So we've got Karen on the phone. She is coming in. I'm going to put Karen. Do you mind if we do video? I think she said it's okay. We're going to find out. She's going to yell at me if it's no. We're going to find out real quick. Hold on. Karen, if you don't want to be on video, just let me know. Like you can just say real quick, like, Matt, turn it off right when you come on. And you're going to be on in 3, 2, 1. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Matt. Turn it off, please.
All right. There you go. See, that was quick. Karen, welcome. Can everyone hear Karen? Karen, say something.
Hello.
Okay.
Yep.
Can everyone hear her?
She's good.
Sounds
Yep.
good.
All right, Karen, you're 5x5. What do you want to talk about?
All right, awesome. I was having a debate with my brother last night.
Okay.
This is when I learned he was a Democrat.
Just real quick. You said debate, right?
Yes, we were debating just political, what's going on with the Biden, just with everything going on.
Okay.
And he brought up January 6th and the National Guard. I'm under the understanding that Mayor Bowser and Pelosi had to request the Guard and Trump could authorize it. He tells me no matter what, Trump could demand it and make it happen.
Interesting.
And he
So
told me to go take a look at like Article 10 of the Presidential Powers Act or something. Everything I'm seeing is recalling up troops that have left the military, but they're still on recall.
Yeah, that's active duty, and that is active duty and reenacting active duty into enlisted into active status versus reserve status. That is something completely different, and that is completely different. So I'll tell you what I know. Okay.
Okay.
The National Guard, specifically for any state, can be requested by the President of the United States, formally in writing. It has to be a request, and it has to go through the governor. Now, since Washington, D.C. does not have a governor, they have a mayor. Works a little bit different. The National Guard for Washington, D.C. is most assuredly under the mayor's command and the mayor's control. However, the President of the United States can request the National Guard in writing to the mayor. And once that is done, the mayor is doesn't have to comply, but if doesn't comply, has to validly give the reason why not. Now, what we do know is if we take a look at a couple of the people who testified in January 6th who would be responsible for penning the memo, Donald Trump said that he sent a memo out and sent a letter. He didn't. There is no letter. This has been going around multiple times. In fact, during the J6 investigation, multiple administration officials for Donald Trump said that they did not send out a letter in any way, shape, or form and were not formally requested to the mayor of D.C. There also is another one dated in, I believe, in early January or late November. I can't remember the date. I want to say the reason why I don't say it was early January is because it was so close to the 6th. It may have been a few weeks before Christmas, but there was a letter penned to a response request where the mayor said, "Are you going to be needing any additional National Guard or security?" Bowser sent this out and was replied to that no, they would not, that ultimately it would be on a standby, but no formal request to expand the National Guard at this time. And this was before January 6th. So here's the answer to your question.
And that request was made to
That,
the Capitol Police?
No, it was not to the Capitol Police.
Pelosi?
No. There was the sergeant of, let me get his name for you, because I had this question before. And there's the Capitol Police, but then there's the gentleman who was in charge during January 6th, who was supposed to request that from Bowser and from not Pelosi. Pelosi wasn't involved in any way, shape, or form. The sergeant at arms was also involved from the request. So you have to request the Capitol Police, the National Guard commander, and Bowser to notify all three parties. But the request that was made, the gentleman's name, I don't recall it off the tip of my tongue. I can get that for you very quickly. But if you look up J6 testimony, National Guard requested, that article will pop up in 2 seconds, and you can actually read the testimony and read the affidavits that were sworn that he did not request any help. Donald Trump did not request of him of any help from the National Guard, and it was not formally in writing as well.
Okay, but therefore, if he didn't formally request it himself, could he have said, "Hey, I'm putting in troops," without the consent of Bowser and the other gentleman?
Not unless he declares martial law.
Could he have done it without their permission, basically?
Yes, he could have if he declared martial law, but he didn't. So that's like saying if my grandmother had balls. That's right. He did not, so he would not. But if he declares martial law, he can utilize the National Guard for support. Remember, the National Guard was sleeping underneath the canopy and underneath the parking garages
in
and
the
all
parking
that.
garage.
They were all there on standby.
All that mess.
Right. And then they were brought up afterwards. Well, they had National Guard on standby because literally 2 hours after J6 happened, I drove through and National Guard were on checkpoints on the freeways. So I talked to 3 or 4 National Guard units on my way out and pulled over and talked to them. So, they had National Guard there within a blink of an eye. The whole point was they were not there running security that day because Trump didn't request them. Now, he says he verbally requested, but that's not how it's done. Just like you can't verbally declassify top secret and SCI documents, you have to do it formally in writing so it can be redacted. So there's a lot of this, I said so, but it doesn't necessarily make it so just because Trump says so.
Okay. Then, excuse me, to an extent, then both me and my brother are right. Because he did not come back with stating that if he did the martial law, then he could make it happen without working with the counterparts, basically. Right.
It has to be formally requested in writing to the mayor, but it really is. I mean, it is at Donald Trump's discretion. Do I think it was a setup? Someone just asked. Dottie just asked. Do I think it was a setup? No, I don't think it was a setup. I think it was a bunch of people who got out of hand, who were driven into that Capitol by people who were planning to go into that Capitol. And I truly believe it was a smokescreen. I think there were about 150 who wanted to go in, wanted to capture people, wanted to zip tie people, wanted to go ahead and hold them hostage because they felt that they were on some sort of crusade to protect the Constitution of the United States. And the other 3,000 people who were involved in that got tied up, and the other 57,000 people were marred by that image, and the other 71 million people who had nothing to do with it are forever insurrectionists because liberals made them that way.
Exactly.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
Exactly. But do you also agree that, and I've written this on your shows a few times, there were 2 different entry points. There were those ones that you just talked about. Yeah. Well, the 2 main ones, the one with the scaffolding and everything, and the B&E versus the big heavy damn doors that needed to be electronically unlocked.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In which those were the peaceful ones, but the ones from, what was it, the East Side, I think? The East Side were all the black clad and the Ray Epps BS and
Yeah,
all that. But, of course, Pelosi and her cohorts only tried to show that part with the break-in. But, of course, then us, the normal conservatives behaving and then getting hung out to dry.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. There were multiple things that happened at J6, and I want to open this up to anyone else.
That
who
whole
wants to chat
thing
with
was
Karen.
bullshit.
Well, listen, there
Sure.
was riots, there were peaceful
Yes.
protests, there were misdemeanor style aggravated assault and destruction of property. There was felony assault and battery. There was insurrection, whether you want to go ahead and listen, not the legal term of insurrection, but the actual literal meaning of insurrection is raising up against a lawful force. That's exactly what it is. They were police. And it doesn't matter that you didn't have weapons, but the legal definition of insurrection is weapons are required. It comes down to this. January 6th was stupid. It was a dumb way of doing things. It shouldn't have happened, but not the whole thing was stupid. There was 57,000 people there that did not raise a ruckus, who literally were there and left. Then about 3,000 people got froggy and got stupid. And then 150 were there for ill intent that were powered by Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, probably some Antifa members, probably some people who were driving, maybe FBI. I don't know. I can't say that or not. I have no proof of that, and nobody else does either. The whole point is all we have to do is look at the rest of the country right now and look at how Antifa is posing as white supremacists, how the Lincoln Project is putting people with torches in front of Glenn Youngkin's bus. There is a false flag operation going out there to malign conservatives with racism and Nazism, and it's bullshit. It's a lie. Yes, it's out there, but it is not even close to as mainstream as the people who want to destroy the Constitution, sexualize our kids, and ultimately hold the election never again for Republicans and allow Democrats to remain in power forever by packing the court, expanding the states. Those are a scary and serious movement inside this country. You're talking 30 million strong who believe those things that I just said versus a group of people that are not more than 50 to 60,000, a complete knuckleheads who nobody takes seriously.
Right. The interesting point there, more than who is to blame, is just the fact that a relatively small group of bad actors gave the Democrats the paintbrush that the left needed to paint everyone with a red hat as extreme.
That's right.
And that's all they wanted. It
Yes.
was to control that level of the optics to say, look, this guy is bad. And now that they have the Bob Ross kind of portrait already laid up of what bad people look like, they can say, and it's all because of the orange man. And that's all they wanted.
That's all it was.
Okay.
Anybody else want to chime in on that? No. Karen, what else you got for us?
Okay. Yeah, I just want to do. Let me just give you a little bit of background. I've only been not really involved in politics, but paying attention, I guess you could say, for probably the last 4.5 years. I used to run a dog rescue facility, and all my time was spent there. But in the background, my facility was set up in a home style environment where the kids had, couches and TVs and, living environment set up. So anyway, I would leave the TV on at night, even so the dogs had sound and light and everything. And I'd come in the morning to do, the cleaning, the rotations, and the feeding and everything. And what I finally realized is at night when I left my TV on, it was on ABC or whatever it was, and the freaking background to my hearing, not my conscious hearing, but my subconscious, was the freaking ladies on the dang View.
Yeah.
And they warped me to hate a man I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Literally. And so in 2016, it's like, well, no Hillary, and I can't vote for this guy because everything that's been brainwashed into my head.
Yeah.
And then I was able to slow my lifestyle down a bit and start paying attention after a lot of arguments with my husband and my son, who have every right to tell me I told you so. And they opened my eyes and informed me to take a look at Donald Trump and what he was accomplishing for our country. And then as I was able to absorb that, do my research and go, oh my God, I was brainwashed.
Right.
Oh,
And I didn't even know it. And then
It happens
realizing
on both
even
sides,
that
though.
they were,
yeah,
It happens on both
exactly.
sides, though. Be careful. Be careful because it happens. Like we were told that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert and
she's a little wonky.
they're all wonky, and they said then like they don't even show up to vote, and now Marjorie Taylor Greene is all up in Kevin McCarthy's shit and voting for expanding the budget when it's not even balanced. And you're like, folks, this is the thing we need to watch out for: is if you expect a candidate to do everything that you want, you're going to be hopelessly disappointed. This is where Washington works at its best, when compromise is made. And even though I don't agree with the spending bill that they did, I do agree with the fact that something needed to be done, and us defaulting on our debt is not a good idea. But it doesn't mean you don't show up to vote. It doesn't mean you sit there and turn around and put in articles of impeachment because your Twitter rating is going down. When you know damn well the only thing that's going to happen is his favorability is going to go up. Right now, Biden is a sinking ship. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. One more thing. Dan Frank says that is not completely true because Trump has to request, which I said. I'm not sure what's not true because I did say he has to request. And it's up to the mayor to approve of it. But since the D.C. is not a state, the Secretary of Defense acts as a governor to Washington, D.C. I think that's what I said. The only thing I didn't say is Secretary of Defense. And they can override the mayor if they think the mayor is wrong. Yes, under 3 conditions: martial law, a formal written request, or they have to go to Nancy Pelosi and they have to go to the minority and majority leader and get approval from the House and the Senate. I don't know. I don't know what I said that was wrong. Maybe somebody else said something that was wrong.
That's exactly what.
There's 3 ways to do it. That's it. Trump saying, I asked for him. That's not the way it works. And if you did, it doesn't matter. It's just like declassifying documents. You can declassify everything secret and below anytime you want. You're the president of the United States. You could wipe your ass with that stuff.
When it comes to the document deal, though, it is part of the process that the exiting president does have 5 years to go through his documents
12.
and then
12.
come back and deal with NARA.
12.
And
12.
12 years?
12 years. Hillary Clinton and the software
Okay,
incident.
well.
But hold on.
Exactly.
But hold on. You're talking about documents that have been pre-approved and disclosed. The documents that he originally writ to NARA in 2019 did not have the documents that he possessed. So the documents that he enclosed were different than the documents that he possessed. And that's why NARA said, hey, you need to return these documents. These documents are not redacted. They are TSI. They are compartmentalized. They have to be returned. They are the property of the United States government and the American people. And through the proper request, you can't keep these documents. And Trump said, no, I'm not giving them back for a year. Well, that's
okay, but
against
then
the law.
what's the difference between those documents and those tapes of Bill Clinton's? Because those have a lot of very important information on them.
Yeah, secret
top
and below,
secret
but
shit.
It's not top secret. There's no SCI. There's no compartmentalized information in the software incident. Absolutely not. There was no TS. There was no SCI. And I'm not here to defend Clinton, but there was in the Clinton library. And if you go back and forget the sock drawer incident, forget the interview tapes, but go back and look at the Clinton library, who had 33,000 documents, including SCI and top secret information, and they refused to give it to NARA, and they were actually sued by NARA. And there was a huge case on this. Go read it. It's incredible. That is where you should litigate your case, not the sock drawer incident.
Okay. And the difference between that is a lawsuit versus a raid.
Yeah, right. There was no raid, but they were both
NARA has no
lawsuits.
legal authorities.
You're right. Well, understand the Department of Justice was weaponized, and they brought in the raid. The raid was all for show. That's why they took his passport. Right. They took his freaking passport. He didn't have an arrest
and his
warrant.
medical records.
I know. Listen, you're not going to get me. But see, here's the thing, kiddo, is that you come from a very interesting perspective.
Kiddo, no, I'm older than you.
It doesn't matter. Everybody's a kiddo to me because that's a term of endearment. If I don't like you, I'll call you shithead.
That's all good.
So here it is. And I'll say
I'll call you shithead back. So
I'm a blue collar. I grew up in a blue collar Democrat California, right? So a Reaganite California. So I understand the blue collar mentality, and the blue collar Democrats are really the only type of conservatives left. They are more conservative than these far right conservatives. So I have a viewpoint that a lot of people on the show have, is that we can see multifaceted sides to a situation that's considered singular. And I can see why people are upset the way Trump was treated. And I can also see that Trump broke the law. The severity of what he did are two different things. Now, treason and espionage and selling secrets, it's all bullshit. But he did obstruct. because we know he obstructed because he said he did. He openly said it. They have him on tape. And he openly
he
just
did and
admitted
everything, but the charges
admitted
he's being brought up on are
obstruction.
under the Espionage Act,
Not
in
all of
which
them.
they don't.
Not all of them.
That's what they use to even bring it forward.
Sure, they did. But you understand obstruction of justice isn't just under the espionage. The obstruction of justice is interfering with an open investigation. And when he refused to go ahead and he refused to follow the subpoena for over a year, and he took evidence and said, "Can we destroy it?" and said, "I know I'm not supposed to share this, and I don't have anything," and lied. That's obstruction of justice. So it's they're not charging him with obstruction of justice under the Espionage Act. They're charging him with the Espionage Act, and he obstructed during that process, and they're going to hit him with it. And that's the one that's going to hurt him the most. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Well, let me ask you a question. Hillary Clinton,
Sure.
when she went ahead and she destroyed and bleach bit her servers, deleted the emails, and destroyed the phones, was that in lieu of espionage, or was that in reaction to the investigation that was taking place and the cease and desist that she had? And which one was which? Was it because she did all those things, or is it because she was under investigation and then did them? It was obstruction because she was told not to do that and she did it anyway.
Yeah,
the same thing holds true for Trump.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then it's the difference of standards depending on who's
Trump's
in the White
not going
House
to prison.
and control of our
Trump's
country.
not going to prison.
No.
Trump's going to get a fine. He's going to get a fine, and it's going to be completely ridiculous. It's stupid. Most of that shit's going to be thrown out. Most of it will be thrown out because if he goes down, Obama goes down, Clinton goes down. Yeah. The moment Biden is out of office, they are going to destroy the man. They are going to cripple him with lawsuits. The Democrats are not going to be that stupid. He's not going to jail.
Right. Yeah, I know he's not going to go to jail. My Democratic brother did say the indictment on Trump was pretty much bullshit considering what everybody else has done.
Yeah,
you know,
63% of America agrees with you, including Democrats, agree that this is a political
he sounds like an interesting guy. I wish he'd come on the show, too.
I wish he would, too. I'd love to see him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will. We were raised military. My dad spent 23 years Army, 13 years civilian, still working on base. He spent 20 or 21 years in the reserve, Army Reserve. He did Iraq and Afghanistan. He was Special Forces.
Your father?
Had some pretty hard... no, I'm sorry, my brother was. My dad was in Korea, Vietnam.
Okay. So your brother was in Special Forces in the Army?
Yeah, airborne.
Was okay, airborne.
Yeah,
airborne.
He was a jumper.
Airborne's not Special Forces.
Okay, but he did go in hand to hand. He did.
No, I understand. I'm not saying airborne's not tough.
So
I'm just saying there's a big difference between Special Forces. Listen, this is just a
SF or a different kind of group.
This is me, this is my own personal qualm. Is airborne is very, very cool, and airborne guys are great, but they're not Special Forces. Green Berets, right. Special Forces, Delta Force, SEALs, Force Recon, SAR. Those guys are Special Forces. Yeah,
definitely.
But anyway,
definitely.
Go ahead.
And I may even have worded it because we don't talk a lot about his military, because of the stuff he had to do. He was clearing a building one day, first man in, and entered a room, and there's a 12-year-old boy with a rifle he had to take out.
Yeah.
So he did 3 tours over, and
I'm not discrediting his service. I just want to be very careful. Special Forces is a very elite class of people. Airborne is great. It's better than 90% of the training out there is incredible. But most guys who go through Benning to jump school call it summer school for a reason.
Yeah, all I know is he jumped out of perfectly good airplanes. So,
some of us did.
He sounds like a really cool dude, actually.
He does. I'd love to hear from him.
He is. He's a good man. He's a hardworking man, and he works on base and everything. And so he's really good. It was just we don't talk a whole lot. My whole family is just kind of separated from each other after our parents died, and so I just thought of calling him last night, and we just ended up starting to debate, and that's when I realized that he was a Democrat, and he did make one major faux pas and called DC a state.
Well, most people.
And I had to stop him on that one.
Do you know how many people actually think Washington DC is a state? Do you know how many people actually think that?
A lot of people do, but I'm sorry, there's only 50 states in America.
Yeah, I know, but they
There's
think
not
Washington, D.C.
51.
is one of them. They think because it's a capital that therefore it has to be a state. And it's the thought process is incredible. And why they don't just make Washington, D.C. a district and give it back to Philadelphia, even though it's a complete shithole, I don't understand. But Karen, I got to go. I got to go do a show. I could sit here and talk to you all night. I enjoyed talking to you. Thank you. It's always good to have somebody call in, but I got a show to do. I got to go put Biden on trial.
Karen,
here.
it was really good hearing
Yeah,
from
Karen,
you.
Thanks for calling.
yeah, Karen, you were awesome. So thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Karen.
All right,
See
great.
you, buddy.
I'll continue watching.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye. All right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Dan responded back and said, tell Matt I was responding to the caller that she was partially wrong and not him because he was accurate in what he was saying.
It happens all the time. Happens all the time, Dan. And that's the problem is I can't see replies. So that's why I've learned. Usually I jump down people's throat like, Dan, you son of a bitch. I already, but now I've learned to calm down. I just go ahead and say, hey, I'm not sure if you're talking to me, but if you are. All right. So let's get to this. We've got some good stuff tonight and a lot of digging. And what's funny is the hosts have no idea what we're talking about. So this is something we didn't have a lot of time, and that's okay because the great thing about this show is sometimes this is the way it rolls, and that's okay. So let's get into it. Also, buy a hat. There we go. Buy a hat.
That's really big.
That's what she said. Okay, tonight Biden is in trouble, and it's building. I mean, it's getting bad, folks. I've got a lot of videos to show you how the walls are coming in, and I'm not an alarmist, and I've sat back. I've told you. I've said, hey, don't expect anything to happen. But here's the problem: is I believe that the Democrats shot their load way too early. I think they jumped on Trump way too fast, and I got to give it to Trump. And here it is again. I have always said Trump is better at chess than checkers. I think he announced his presidency. I'm gonna eat some crow here. I was wondering, why is he announcing his presidency? Why is he announcing his presidency? It doesn't make any sense. It's too early. This is too soon. And I'm like, I was thinking about it last night in bed. I'm like, holy shit, that dirty son of a bitch. He did it to get them to start. He did it to get them to start charging. He did it to start bringing the court cases up. The earlier he gets in, the more credibility, the more momentum he gets. So what do? It forces the rest of the field to bring in. It opens up all these cases. They have to start prosecuting him early instead of waiting till November. It's perfect. It's a really good strategy. And I don't know whether that was on purpose, but I'm going to give him credit anyway. It truly was. It brought out all the freaking cases. And this is going to give him, if he can get these shored up and get these things seen effectively, it's going to allow him to at least run. He's gaining sympathy from the general public. I just said it, 63% of America believes that these are Trump charges. So I got to give him props. But anyway, quickly, I want to show you something from Brian Krassenstein. You guys remember Brian? This is the reason we go ahead and the boat is gently rocking. The boat is gently rocking. That guy
You're saying that very creepy. I don't like it.
That's the way he sounds. You don't remember the video? This is the way this guy sounds. He's horrible. He does these videos every day, and all he does is write like 5 things, and then he just reads off the teleprompter. It could be like, I like Twinkies. I love cats. My dog is brown. And he'll be like, I like Twinkies, number 1. Number 2, my dog is brown. Number 3, I have a cat. And you're just listening to this guy. You're like, oh my God, dude. It's like listening to a high school teacher who is Mr. Magoo. Here. Yes. Bueller. Yes. Yeah. Here, I'll show you a video. If you don't remember, this guy was in my crosshairs, and I said, okay, we already know that. So that was Brian Krassenstein right here. He's right there in the top of the feed. Dude, he completely gets pushed by Elon Musk. Elon Musk subscribes to him, and he's pushing this guy huge, which is really frustrating. I'm going to find a video real quick about this guy, just so you can hear him. Go ahead, Leroy.
I just said it was interesting that Elon Musk would push the guy.
Yeah, dude, I'm not enjoying some of the things that are going on over in Twitterverse. See, this guy, he's taken down a lot of his stuff because he's scrubbing his videos. And because a lot of the stuff that he says, oh, here it is. Here's one
segment from Tucker Carlson's episode 3 that he posted on Twitter last night. And then I want to ask you all to do a simple thought experiment.
Okay, so look at the first line. It says right here, I want to address the segment on Tucker Carlson. So he writes it, and then he just reads it. And
says exactly that, yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God. And then first of all, the mic he's using,
dude, I can fucking read, yeah.
This is a Shure SM7B. It's the mic that I gave Amy that she's using. It is a purple mic, and he's using it wrong, and he sounds horrible. And it's like, dude, just give me 40 minutes. And like, why don't you just copy my set like frickin' what's the guy? Benny did. Did you see Benny copied my set? Did everyone take a look at that?
No.
Oh, dude, he copied my set. It's ridiculous.
him.
He used to sit behind a green screen, and his set looks just like mine. I mean,
Leroy.
AR-15 on the wall, American flags. I'll show you. Wait, hold on.
Yes, I want to see.
Let's listen to
Tucker
Benny. Oh, this guy.
Carlson last night implied that Trump's arrest and his indictment was because the deep state is after him for speaking out on the Iraq war and being against the establishment in Washington, D.C. He then continued.
Okay, so he sounds like the guy in The Natural. Do you remember The Natural? There was the guy that would come in and do the motivational speak. The boat is
baseball
gently,
movie?
yeah, the boat is gently rocking. And here now I got to go find this. Natural.
He's very nasally.
Yeah, he's very
I mean, people have said that to me, that I sound nasally when I.
No, you
When I
don't.
start
Not
getting
like
out.
that,
No,
dude.
he's like his A's are so like short, right? It's like everything's I don't know.
Sorry, here it
It's
is.
like he's got
Here it
a
is. Here it is. Here it is.
hard
Here it is. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Is a strange thing, and you must begin by asking it, what is losing? Losing is a disease, as contagious as polio. I want you to imagine you are on a ship at sea, on a vast, calm,
All right. So
Yeah, very, very good.
Oh my God.
okay,
it does
so
sound
yeah,
like that.
thank you so much. So this guy's a tool, and I kind of have been after him for a while, and I've been trolling his page. He's a paid shill. He's a Soros paid DNC hack, like they all are. There's like 50 Twitter personalities that are
You saw
all
the
paid
guy
by
that I went after
Soros.
the other day.
What's that?
You saw the guy that I went after the other day, that major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that guy's the same. He's also paid. I've got a photo of him with 50 of the top Twitter people. So Brian Krassenstein, this guy, first of all, he was charged. He had to give the federal government, he and his brother, Brian, first of all, they were banned off Twitter for duping accounts. He had to give $500,000 back because he ran a Ponzi scheme and stole money from people and was never charged because he paid it back. Had some lawyers that obviously protected him because he's a shill for the left. This guy bought 2 accounts that were for a Nick Jonas fan club, bought the accounts, took the Twitter followers and just changed the name to him, and immediately started with like 800,000 followers. You can't do that in Twitter. Well, Elon Musk reinstated his account, and now he's bigger than sliced bread. The guy's making a shit ton of money off the DNC. He's a horrible human being. I can't stand him because here's the reason why. It's not that he's stupid. He's not necessarily stupid. He's fair. His brother's smarter than him. But the problem is that you have no pride in what you do. Your setup is shit. And I don't tolerate that. These guys know. Leroy knows. Amy knows. I critique their sound. I critique their.
Oh,
I'm like, you
God.
guys,
It's never
shut up,
ending.
dude, whatever.
I know.
Just fucking get.
I made
just,
20-minute
changes to my
sound check
set,
before every show.
and I
You
was
gotta look
reading
good.
through the comments.
Stop messing with your lighting, man.
Okay. Anyway, so now they're going to cry like little girls, but they look good while they do it. And that's all that matters. But this guy doesn't take any pride. So he was accused of. Somebody went on and made some comments, and people are hateful and all this, but they went in there and they said, hey, this guy's a pedo. And, you know, that seems like to be like the new Nazi thing. But anyway,
Right.
so this guy makes some comments, and this is what he says. He goes in and starts talking about the Pride Parade. And this, dude, this isn't funny. I mean, he says, number 1, seeing a man, and I'm going to correct his illiterate ass, seeing a man naked on a bike isn't going to have much of an impact on any kid. They have likely seen their father or brother naked before.
On a bike.
On a bike.
Dude, I want to be completely clear. Number 1, my children have never seen me naked, and they never will. I refuse the doors closed. Like, we have double indemnity. I close the bedroom door and the bathroom door, lock them both before I get undressed. My kids will never, if they touch the door when I'm in the shower and I hear it knock, I'm like, I'm in the shower, Olivia, no. Nobody but my wife gets to see me naked, or you can go to my OnlyFans account. So that's, otherwise, that's it. So this guy is getting hammered. I mean, tens of thousands of comments destroying this guy. And then here is his reply. And I'm so happy because, dude, it's his own mouth, right? He got himself in trouble. And I don't know what else to say. He got himself in trouble. So then he goes, taken completely out of context from the conversation, talking to my lawyer in 30 minutes. So now he's threatening to sue people that are saying this. He's talking about suing the libs of TikTok. And it's like, dude, it's from your own mouth. What do you want? Here
What is he going to sue him for?
For defamation of character. On Twitter. Do you know how many times I've been called a Nazi? Do you know how many times I've been called a pedo? You know how many times I've been called a rhino? Dude, it's the internet. What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't give a shit. It's just more clicks for me.
So it's all fair game, right? Those claims only apply to the people that fall right on the spectrum. If you're on the left, you have that protection. You have the lawyer's protection. You have social media that are going to back you up, and they're going to try and cancel anyone who attempts to defame you.
So I went on to Ed Krassenstein, his brothers, and Ed Krassenstein's in there, and he's like, men should leave children alone. I support pride. I support transgenders, but I don't support men sexualizing kids. And then I took a screenshot of that tweet of his brother, and I said, you better go get your brother. He's tripping, yo. That one's blown up. So this is what he says. This is literally the tweet I made right before libs of TikTok claimed I defend adult men riding around and flashing their dicks to kids. Meanwhile, libs of TikTok, who is followed by thousands of kids, continues to tweet out an uncensored video of the very event that they are trying to claim I support. So he's getting it. And here's what it comes down to. The left feed on the left. I don't care how big you are. That is the one thing I love about conservatives is that they tell me what they think about me. They may disagree with me. They may not like what I say, but nobody tries to go ahead and feed off me or cancel me because of it. But the left, they are vultures. Who wants to go ahead and start first?
Yes. No, that is absolutely true. The left eat their own. That's the
Hold
way
on a second. Hold on, let Olivia go. Olivia, go ahead.
I just said it can't be comfortable trying to ride a bike naked. I couldn't even imagine that would.
Especially as a man.
No, I mean, it's just a horrible image, too.
Where do you put your stuff? Which side of the seat? No, I'm not a boy.
Which side of the seat?
When we're naked, we do it. When we're naked riding a bike, we do it side saddle. It's the easiest way. So
perfect.
Gosh.
Thanks for that visual.
So I want to do a video that's going to obviously have some opinion here. So hold on your opinions. I want to show you this video because these things are tied in. There was a video that was of gay pride singing "We're Coming for Your Children." Now, Benny posted this. This was on DC Dranos. This was on Dinesh D'Souza. This was on Graham Allen's, and I am going to be the only conservative to say that this video is full shit. And I'm going to show you why. And I wouldn't allow it to be shared on the group. I put a disclaimer on it. This isn't true. And this is seen by millions of Republicans. This has been seen by millions of people who believe that this took place because they want confirmation, right? Just like January 6th was confirmation that Republicans are insurrectionists and white supremacists, this is confirmation for the right that every LGBT person wants your children. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And we have to be careful. This was never about the pride flag. This was never about the LGBT community. This was about going after our kids and sexualizing our children. That's what this was about. And now it's turned into this gay bashing fest. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's disgusting. I really do. You can treat things mutually exclusive. You can go after the sexualization of our kids. You can go after the drag shows. You can go after the performances. You can go after the horrible books and shit that they're trying to put down our throat. But attacking people who are just trying to love somebody else, that stuff's got to stop. It doesn't make any sense. We've been dealing with pride parades and all this for 40 years. It hasn't been a problem until this almost concerted effort where everyone feels insurmountable now to say whatever they want and not realizing that some of the shit that they're saying is homophobic. Here's the video. I want you to listen. If you don't have headphones, just listen because I'm going to show you what happens here and nobody else is talking about this but me. So that's either good or bad. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, but either way, it's going to be the truth. Here it is. This is a pride parade. And there are several people with breasts hanging out, and it's got assless, or there aren't such thing as assless chaps, just chaps. It's bad, okay? And nobody needs to see this, but there are no children there. These are adults who are marching. Now, they're saying something, and I want you to listen very carefully. Here it is. okay. We're queer. We're here. We're coming for your children. Now, immediately, everybody's like, holy shit. But wait. And I want you to listen. The first part. Listen to the first part. We are going shopping is the first thing they say. Now, that cuts in the middle of the video. Now, listen. I want you to hear the difference. The beginning part is we're here, we're queer, and then you hear a loud male voice that says, we're coming for your children, but nobody else is saying it. It doesn't match the words of the crowd. Watch and listen again. It's one guy saying we're coming for your children.
Saying.
And now you're going to hear a woman and a man right over the top of them and say, we're coming for your children. Here it is. Did you hear shopping and children at the same time? Because the people in the crowd are saying shopping, and the people overdubbing, which is the man and the woman who are recording the video, are saying we're coming for your children. Listen to it again. Shopping, and now they start yelling over them.
We're not going.
False
We're
flag, is
not
that what
going
you're
shopping. So what they're saying is that we're here to rally, we're here to protest, we're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping was the quote. They also said some other things. We're here, we're queer, we're not going anywhere. We're here, we're queer, we want equal rights. We're here, we're queer, stop the fear. They said many things. But what happened is that they came in and interjected and started recording the video, and two people alone overdubbed their voice loudly over the mic and said and chimed in while they were still saying the shopping chant, we're coming for your children. Now listen to it all over again. Ignore the boobs. Ignore the guy in drag. Just whop all that shit out of your head and just listen to the words. Here it is. Now, the rest of it, I don't give a shit about. I don't care. Whatever. You want to dress up like an idiot? You want to show your boobs? Just keep that shit out of my face. Keep it away from my children. I don't want it in my schools. Just get it out of here. But it's okay for you to challenge that video. It's okay for you to say this is not meant for children. It's okay. I don't agree with this lifestyle. Of course, you have every right to say that. But what we don't get to do is make shit up. We don't get to make shit up because somebody's recording it and overdubbing over that parade and using it as click counts. This video has made that person hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me be clear. Over 78 million people have seen this. When I say I know what I'm talking about, I know what royalties are. I know how much I make on my views. If I had something that was seen by 78 million people, I think my check would be somewhere around $96,000 in ad revenue. Let me say it again. Because I had something that saw 3.7 million views last month, and I made $16,000, which paid my bills for the entire 6 months that I've been open for 2023. Because I haven't made a lot on this show. So I know how much money can be made in this stuff, and it's incredible. That video went viral, and that person is making a killing because they edited the voice. And other Republicans are now using it, and they're not stating the whole truth. Yes, it's disturbing. No, I don't like it. No, I don't want my kids to see it, but that's not what those people said, and it needs to be said. So there I go.
No, it sounds like what happened was the guy that was doing the recording was singing along and then added those words in while he was recording, just kind of yelling it. And that's why it was so prominent in the headphones as opposed to and it washed out everyone else's voice.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say this. When I heard it earlier today,
Michael Knowles commented on it too. Yeah.
What did
and I
Michael
love
Knowles say?
Same thing. Not your side of things. He was basically saying, look, these people are saying that they're coming after your children.
But they didn't. Go ahead,
And
Amy.
what I heard earlier, I didn't hear it on Michael Knowles, and I do love him. My immediate reaction was, it's a bad joke. Like they're trying, like that's what the right side is saying, and and they're just trying to like poke fun at the right, like haha. So I didn't take it as threatening as other people on the right, but I did not even think that it was not a real, like they were just making it for the clicks.
It's just they may not have been making it for the clicks. They may have been homosexuals that were recording it and wanted to make a joke. It doesn't matter. The point is that the way it seems is that everybody in that crowd is chanting that, and they're not.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm saying. And people are like, this is a movement. Now we need to get up in arms and get violent. Here's the proof. And I'm like, wait a second. This is a lot like January 6th. You're selectively being shown something that could get you outraged that you don't need to be outraged about. Be outraged about the right thing. Be outraged that they have books in schools that shouldn't be in there. Be outraged that parents are being considered domestic terrorists for questioning these things. Be outraged that they're indoctrinating our kids. But this is not that. And it's really important for you to be upset about the right thing, not about something that it's not. That's my point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Liv?
Again, it's a
What are your thoughts on this?
misrepresentation.
Right.
It makes perfect sense. And I have not spent much time on social media lately, so I haven't seen anything, and I'm completely out of touch. So that was the first time I'd seen it. And the first time that you played it, I was a little shocked. I was like, holy cow. But then re-listening to it, I totally see that. And it's totally wrong. And if the people who actually said that, even though if they were trying to get clicks or make a joke or not, if they're actually queer or gay or lesbian, it's going against their cause.
That's right.
Right? I mean,
Right.
it's going to get people pissed off and outraged against that community. Isn't the whole point is to be inclusive and to get people to follow your movement? But it's just going to piss people off.
And can I
Go
just
ahead,
want to
Nance.
say, when I heard this today, and I still thought it was like a joke, I don't want to say where I was over part of the weekend. I literally thought yesterday was Monday. But we were somewhere yesterday, and it was a very liberal area, like tons of gay pride stuff. Every freaking storefront had a pride flag and the new ones. And I will say 90% of the stores that we walked by that had the flag in it, which was 95% of the stores, they had the pride flag. And at the top of the pride flag, it read, "Protect trans kids." And so, and I saw that yesterday, and then I'm hearing this today, and I'm like, okay, this is like all, I thought that was a total joke. I'm like, that's poor taste. But why are they putting, literally, it was written on the flags at the top.
Once again, I have went after the transgender community when the community needs to be gone after. I have made 20 videos over the last 3 or 4 months? Oh shit, over the last 2 years. I mean, I was calling out the transgender community 2.5 years ago when nobody else was. I mean, go watch some of those videos. I was calling them out, talking about suicide. I got banned from Twitter for talking about transgender suicide and drug use. I mean, come on. I've been calling this shit out for a long time. But what I'm not going to do is I can only call balls and strikes. And in this video, there's something being portrayed that isn't accurate. And I'm going to report the truth. Where everyone else is going to go for clicks and say something just to get some drama out of it, I'm not. I'm going to tell you the truth. And that's what I told you how to always do. Now, some people are like, well, there was a choir video. What about that, Matt? Did I defend that? I'm just telling you what happened in this video. And I can't tell you about the shopping thing. I can't tell you what they were chanting because that's what it sounds like to me. What I can tell you is what it's not. What it's not is hundreds of people saying, we're queer, we're here, we're coming for your children. Because that was two people. First it was a man, and then it was a woman and the man saying that. So this could be a conservative, this could be a liberal, this could be a gay person. I don't know, I don't care. What I'm trying to tell you is that was not what was said in that chant in any way, shape, or form, except for two people. That's what you need to know. And you do with that information what you will.
I just have more questions about it. Like, where were they going shopping? Like, what, do you know what I mean? Like, was this in like a shopping, like, was it like a shopping district? Like, I don't understand the context. Like,
I don't either. But what I do know is what was not said. And that's all I can say. Yeah. What was not said was what all Republican channels are saying. That's what all I can tell you. Leroy?
I don't understand the woman.
Can I
with
make
the
a quick
boobs,
point on
'cause-
this?
Yes, you can. Go ahead, Leroy.
Okay. It's a slimy move, right? And what I mean by that is that in every effort that the left uses to discredit the right, when I'm talking, and when I say that, I'm talking about the more extreme Democrats who want to discredit or finger point or anything towards people on the far right. It's an emotional thing. It's intended to garner some sort of strong emotional reaction, right, to get you outraged, right, so that you will get your head in the fight. Now, I think that's a slimy maneuver because in this case, here we have what sounds like to me is somebody who's garnishing an emotional reaction, right, against people who were peacefully marching in a parade. Whether or not you agree with the boobies hanging out or the dudes in drag, I don't care. They do have that right to do that. They can sing whatever. That's why I never go to these things. I never go to any of these protests. I don't like them. But it's specifically because of the amount of confusion that can come from things like this. Because I've seen the gazelles in the wild, and at the drop of a hat, they all change direction in a singular herd. That's the problem with that. And I'm not part of the herd. And it's a slimy maneuver to get the left, or to get a lot of the Dems to get some sort. I'm sorry, the right, to get some sort of reaction out of them, so that you will attack them. Don't you say that about my kids? And next thing you know, you've got people calling up their school districts and the PTA boards to say, "Did you see this? I don't want my kids exposed to this." It's that's all it is. It's something intended to get you to react rather than to think.
So all very good points. So it's my understanding that some people say it wasn't shopping, it was stop it. I don't know, folks. I don't care. I just know what it wasn't. Now, here's all the articles, every one of them. So this is something that you can actually go to. It's called Ground, and it allows you to see all the articles. It tells you how many are left. Now, here's the problem. The left haven't even said anything. The problem with the left is that they can discredit this. They could do exactly what I did, and nobody's challenging this. This is on 18 right and 3 center pages. 86% is being distributed from the right, and all of the articles, nobody's standing corrected. This is 1 day ago. Nobody has said anything saying, wait a second, we want to put this into context. What was said was absolutely correct. What you heard was right. But here's what happened, okay? And it just took a few seconds to put it in the headphones. Now, Leroy, Amy, Olivia, you have no fight in this. You tell me, what did you hear versus what I said? Liv, go first.
Well, like I said, the first time I heard it, I was a little shocked, but after you played it several times, I could definitely tell the difference between We're Coming for Your Children and the rest of it. We're Coming for Your Children was very loud, and it was like that person was holding the phone, and the rest of the chants were very far off. So I definitely think this person was doing it for clickbait or whatnot. As far as like the stop it, now that somebody said that, thinking about it, maybe they did it. Maybe that makes a little more sense of we're not going to stop it as we're not going shopping.
Right.
So
Well, that's what it sounded like.
sense.
But once again,
It does, but that makes a little more sense. But yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
I mean,
Here. Hold on one second. Just listen. I'm sorry I said anybody else, but now I'm going to play this because this is going to add some context. So listen to this. I've seen worse at Mardi Gras. Just let you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Where was this parade anyway?
I don't know. Seattle, I think.
Oh dear.
See, I don't hear anything right now. There's no chance, right?
No.
And that's pretty much every pride parade I've ever been to or seen. Now, here's another one.
I will say this. City Services is going to have a hell of a time cleaning up all that body.
Okay. Here's another one.
Here we go. We gather in the east. We gather in the east. The village. The village. Tompkins Square.
So now here's a perfect point.
Wait.
Look at this. Groom. Now here's where, now I'm going to make my point. This is bullshit. Because you see the signs, groom sissies, drag isn't for sissies. This is what Elon Musk has said is cisgender is a derogatory term. Now, the freaking transgender community and the LGBTQ community are pretending. I have been called a sissy. I have been called a cisgender. They're using it as a term just like Karen. This is just like cracker. Let's be honest. It was in New York. Thank you, Jason. But this is the thing. Elon Musk says this, and they're like, oh, no, we don't use it. Yes, you do. You're liars. And by the way, it's bullshit. Amy, go ahead. You had something to say about it.
No, I literally was, when I saw those signs, I was like, I'm so tired of this BS.
I'm sorry. It
Because
keeps
you
playing.
are-
Go ahead.
You can't say the word normal anymore, but, you know, all of us here on this panel are typical. We were born as male or female, one or the other, and we identify as what we were born as, and we have, you know, we're in typical relationships, heterosexual, like, and that's now being like, I'm trying to think of the word, demonized, I guess, and they're using it, and this is my strict opinion. I feel like they use the term cis to put us on the flag with them. Even though we're not on the flag yet, I feel like it's like an honorary.
We are on the
it's
flag.
like an honorary. Oh, we are. Is cis on part of it? I don't know. I can't keep up. It changes.
It's my understanding that the cisgender community is on one of the versions of the flag.
What exactly is
Okay,
a
well,
cis?
I don't
You, me,
identify-
anybody who cis. Okay,
Yeah.
so
So it's literally
person.
every single person who walks the freaking earth
it's Latin,
as a pride member.
right? It's Latin. So I can break it down for you, but cis is actually a Latin word. Yes.
Well,
Here,
I'm going to ask
I'll
my
explain it to you.
kids because they study Latin and Greek. Like they know all of it. They know so much Latin. I'm going to be like, what's, tell me what it means. I have their flashcards. I was just putting them away actually.
Okay. So there's trans, which means opposite side, and cis, which means on this side. So cisgender is on this side. It's saying this part of the aisle is this, and this part of the aisle is different. That's what it is. But the original term cisgender was coined originally, surprisingly enough, by a pedophile. Now, a lot of people say, oh, no, it wasn't. Well, actually, it was. He wrote a friggin' paper on it.
Right?
It was a German pedophile philosopher, and he tried to normalize pedophilia. And then in 1970-something, 76, I think it was, cisgender was coined by an activist, lesbian activist, and they're like, oh, well, that's where it was created. No. It was created long before in a paper before that. And either she borrowed it or whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's like saying, make America great again. Oh, well, that was coined by Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton. Yeah, but it was also coined by Goebbels in Nazi Germany. So, you know, it wasn't make America great again, but it was make Germany great again. So you have to be careful, and you don't have to have the same meaning, just like the swastika is turn it backwards and it's a Hindu symbol, meaning peace, joy, love, and everything else. But now that the Nazis have it, it's been completely changed over. So every time somebody sees that Hindu symbol, they immediately go, "Oh, wait a second, this is ridiculous. This is a swastika," when it's not. So this is the thing: pagan symbols all over throughout history have been utilized and changed, and their meanings have been altered. Well, the same holds true for words and phrases. And there's only so many in the English and Latin and every other type of language that sometimes things are going to get misused or used again and reappropriated. And cisgender was coined by a pedophile, and people need to understand that. And I don't appreciate being labeled with that. And I certainly don't like people calling me a sissy or anything else because they somehow think it's degrading that I love a woman. Dude, freaking women rock. I don't lesbians love women. Why are they degrading other people who love women?
Procreate,
Exactly.
right?
Well, that's supposedly what we're supposed to do. Anyway, I'm not here advocating for that video. I'm not here saying that that's okay. What I'm saying is that every media station, every freaking outlet, and you know what? I just want to be honest with you guys. Do you know how hard it was for me not to jump on this bandwagon, for me not to say, oh my God, you know, I want to go ahead and jump on this bandwagon. This is easy clicks. I wanted to do a video.
One. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to do it. I want to put it out there. You know, it would have gotten tens of thousands. I would have made money off of it. But I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Every freaking site, guys, every site did this.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I also thought, and again, this is fresh off of my experience yesterday. And I was so just uncomfortable. And this is a place I have been probably plus 500 times in my life. It's a place I've gone often. We haven't been in the last couple months, and was like, oh, let's do dinner. Let's go here. Let's go somewhere different. Let's get away from our normal bubble. Let's go out for a little bit. And we went to a place we normally would go, just not close by. And it was odd to see. It felt like a dramatic change from when we were there just like 2 or 3 months ago. And the flags, I don't know, it really bothered me. It did not bother Jason. He was like, I don't want to have an opinion on it. But I was like, the fact that it says protect trans kids on the flags that they were displaying, I felt
it bothers
really uncomfortable
me too.
because and this is my personal opinion, so don't come after the show, but you can come after me. I don't care. I don't believe children, by and large, are trans. I think there's exceptions to every rule, of course, but I think the majority of the kids who are identifying as trans today are not truly trans, and time will tell. So either I'll be wrong or I'll be right. I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think there's any wrong or right in this. I think opinion is absolutely mandatory for this, and conversation needs to take place. And I wholeheartedly agree that conversation is important on this. I'm not going to condemn anybody. People can say, Matt, you're wrong. I disagree with you. And that's important. I just want to play this one more time, and I want you to listen to it. Keep it in your head. And just remember, just everything. I know they know better. I know the people promoting this know. I know the Republicans know, because it took me. I'm like, I'm going to get my headphones and I'm really going to break this down. I even put in the audio track into Premiere, and the pitch is completely different. The decibels go up. They're like actually running at like a -6, and they go and clip at +3 decibels because the guy's voice is over there. It's literally like Olivia chanting something. Yeah. Olivia, chant something away from your mic. Olivia, chant something. Dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats are good.
Now go ahead and say it close.
Dogs and cats are good.
That's what you hear here. So listen to it once again.
Right.
And although I don't agree with the movement and this cisgenders or sissies and all that, that's a whole nother topic. But this portion, it's just like J6. There's some things in J6 that really bother me. This bothers me because you can hit them on the things that need to be hit on. Hit them on those signs. Hit them on being half naked in public. Don't hit them on shit that's not true. All right, listen.
This is like one of those like magic eye things where like you see a different thing every time. Because I just noticed the big prominent flag in the front where it says this flag is not a crime, and I feel like we should do that with the American flag now.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? But we would have to desecrate the flag if we did that. Isn't that interesting? Because all right, listen to this real quick.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know. I still hear shopping, and I'm thinking like maybe it's a Mall of America style type of place. It's an open street like the 16th Street Mall in Denver. I don't know. I don't care. What I do know is that the person, now that I've listened to it again and really listened again, the person who said we're coming for your children is most assuredly gay. And you can hear it in his verbiage, and you can hear it from his language. And my gaydar absolutely went off with his voice, and I want you to listen to it again. Just listen to him, and I'm pretty confident this was a homosexual person who is trying to get people's goats, trying to piss people off, and that is wrong. It is wrong. It's not okay, and it holds validity, but it's still not all of them saying it. And that is what I take umbrage with, is I would not. I don't want anyone calling me a J6er because I'm a Republican. I guarantee the lesbians and gay people in here who just are marching and trying to celebrate their lives don't want to be associated with coming after their children because it's going to create more hate and more anger and more animosity towards them and more violence. Let's be honest. All right, listen to the guy one more time. We're coming for your children.
Stop.
Yeah.
Go back.
Oh, I also.
Hold on. Leroy's saying something. Wait. Leroy's saying something. Go ahead, Leroy.
Oh, sorry, Leroy. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're all right. From the beginning, play it frame by frame. All right.
Okay.
Or slow-mo is fine.
Oh, I've got it, buddy. I've got all the technology.
It's because you're awesome.
So jealous of all the crowns.
Well, there's a black-haired simple Jack right in the middle.
They all have that, not all of them. The haircut is like a real prominent thing.
All right, stop.
Okay.
Go back 2 frames. All right, I just had to make sure of what I was seeing. I swear to God, that guy in the far left in the blonde wig is wearing a Mad Max outfit, and I was looking for kids in the crowd, actually. I was trying to make sure that we were all correct by saying, look, we don't see any kids in the crowd, and I don't see any kids.
No, I didn't see one kid. But listen. The gay slur is everyone goes, "Oh, well, he's not gay." Yes, he is because he talks like this. Listen, you bitch. I'm sorry, it's true.
I want to point out something else.
Oh,
to Matt's credit, but you didn't mention this, and I'm sure you noticed it. The people who are closest to the camera are chanting this. You can see it in their lips. You can look at if you expand your, you pass those 4 or 5 people, past no one else in the crowd has that snarky face. They're just literally saying the chant like they've said it 1,000 times. Right. They're not excited anymore. They've been walking for probably a mile. They are just like, I'm tired of saying this. My voice is going. Yeah, there's no
very comfortable shoes, very fashionable.
Except for the ladies which are in Timberlands.
But everyone has that haircut, right? Like the freaking, I don't know what that's called, like a bowl flat. Like I have no idea what I'm getting my hair done finally next Friday, so maybe I'll.
I don't understand the lady that's got her boobs hanging out.
It doesn't matter. I'm not here to justify any of that shit. None of that. I know, but even there's kids there. I guarantee there's kids there in the parade. That's not what we're talking about. Kristen, I just provided the call-in info. What's the problem? It's right there. Call the show right there. All right, let's just listen to it again. Tell me this guy does not have the twang thing going on. Come on now. He's gay. So that's investigative journalism 101. I don't care. I'm telling you, he's gay. So it doesn't matter. The whole point is it's 1 or 2 people saying things that are absolutely inappropriate, and they need to be held accountable. They need to be called out. The LGBTQ community should do what I said we should do with January 6th, which is not come out and say, oh, come on, this isn't us. This isn't all of us. This is some. No, denounce it. Denounce it. Right. This is not what Pride's about. They should know better. This is ridiculous. It needs to stop. We should be lessening this type of dialogue and not increasing it. Enough. But no, that's the problem is nobody, even all the left papers, they should be fighting this and say, listen, this is a bunch of knuckleheads. We denounce this. We don't support this. This is unacceptable. Full period, full stop. There is no but. Just like January 6th was completely stupid, should never have happened. Full period, full stop, no but. But guess what? Nobody wants to be credible anymore. It just pisses me off. I feel like we're on an island. I really do sometimes. I feel like we are the only people with any fucking credibility on the internet anymore. Leroy, go ahead.
Well, and so part of it is something that we were all talking about earlier, is that when you're filming large groups like that, when you're filming the January the 6thers, or 3 weeks ago when we were talking about the one dude who was arrested outside of, it looked like some other protest, and there was nothing going on, but he was out there, talking about his he had his Bible verse, and the dude ended up getting arrested. When you see large groups like that, stay the hell away from it. Right? There's so much confusion. There's so many people talking, right? And you're going to have 1 or 2 people in the group who are absolutely bad actors. And then you're going to have a fair amount of the group who are absolutely legit. And it's just not worth it to get yourself involved with that, to implicate yourself with the potential that you would be called out later as saying, oh, you're a liar, or you were misrepresented, or you were, whatever. That's why I really hate protests like that. I hate large groups like that.
I hate you
because
too.
it always comes across as misrepresented later.
Wouldn't it be amazing if people would just protest and have dialogue and conversations? I mean, listen, if there's questions, here they are.
Yeah.
All right, last video before we get into the Hunter Biden stuff, and then we're going to pop smoke. This is interesting. Olivia, I know she has an opinion. Olivia and I's roadway has been under construction for 2.5 effing years, and it's literally less than 1/8 of a mile. And it now is I feel like we're doing off-roading. I feel Joseph Banks says, thank you. I just discovered your show. I'm definitely interested in participating. My husband is pulling me offline, but I'll keep an eye out for your show tomorrow. I hit follow. Just my timing is off. Don't worry about it.
No worries.
Not Joseph.
Welcome aboard.
We'll call you Josephine. All right. Here's the Kristen. That's fantastic. Here's the video. Now we know that I-95 in Pennsylvania, right, Amy? I-95. Is that what it is?
I-95. Wait.
I-90
I'm sorry. I was reading comments.
This is the major interstate that had the fire and collapse in Pennsylvania.
Yes. Was it 85? Yeah, it had to be.
Is it 85 or 95? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Or I was thinking 81 or 95. I had to be one of those. But yes.
Okay. Well, either way, that son of a gun is. Hold on. Alex is calling, and Alex hasn't been on. Alex, we can't go off on something else, but I want to get you on because it's been a long time. Hold on.
Alex.
Dude, what's going on, my brother? Damn, dude, you're looking good, man. Look at you.
Yeah.
You're like almost look as good as RFK Jr. Did you see RFK Jr. with his shirt off, everybody? Holy crap, that guy's yoked.
No.
Dude, he's yoked. Like, no, I mean, I lift. He's yoked. I mean, dude, the guy is freaking like, he's buff as hell. I'll show you a picture. Alex, what's been going on, bud?
All good. Been very busy.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the coup in Russia?
Very lukewarm.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to dive into some stuff here real quick, but I want to show you this. Dude.
I liked the video you had with Diablo 4 earlier. I saw it.
Thanks, buddy. I'm glad you like it. Dude, there he is, dude. That's not Photoshop, guys. That's real. He went and did a bunch of push-ups, and he says, I'm working out for the Joe Biden debate, and he's freaking yoked, dude. Yoked. I'm like, dude, he's 58 years old. I feel like a putz. So, anyway.
Hey,
all right.
Ripped. Good on him.
All right. Let's do this. Let's get this on here. We got Alex here, too, so he can chime in. This video, I-85, whatever it is.
It's 95. I Googled it really quick. It's 95. I wasn't sure if it was 81 or 95. I couldn't recall.
Look at me.
But it's 95.
What? All right. So I-95 in an underpass, a semi-truck catches fire, and the bridge collapses, right? So welcome to, hey, that infrastructure bill is really working, right, Joe? So the governor, they shut this down. This is one of the biggest arteries in Pennsylvania. It's definitely one of the largest arteries in Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. It is a thoroughfare. It is packed. It's always packed. And it shuts down for 12 days, and they're celebrating. And I'm like, wait a second. How in the fuck did you get that done in 12 days? How did you do that in 12 days when we're sitting at 2.5 years for less than 1/8 of a mile and we can't get that crap done and we're paying more and more in taxes? Because watch, here's the time lapse. They're celebrating 8 days. China would have had it done in 24 hours. I'm just letting you know. Right. They would have gotten some Uyghurs. They would have had 20,000 people, slaves there working with no potty breaks. They would have had their kids with guns to their heads.
Buried in the foundation for that bridge.
Right. Then they would all the kids would sign their initials to remember their mom and dad who are buried in the site. This would have been done. Here's the video. $12 days.
Not bad.
So here we are. Now here's my whole problem. I'm very happy that it was done in 12 days. Okay. I'm very glad that these people get to go ahead and drive and everyone gets to be happy and a major artery is no longer closed down. My problem is why can't they do this for the other 348, 49, I can't do the math, some odd days of the year. Go ahead, discuss amongst yourselves.
I just really quick, I think it's because there was no protected salmon near this part of the roadway.
I have one word for it.
Yeah. What's the word?
Bureaucracy.
It's bureaucracy. That's right. Why is it that these roadways get these $1 million deals and then
right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And they actually have to justify their budget. So what do? They have to get their overtime. They have to get their pay. They slow roll these jobs. They hire an exuberant amount of people. There were 32 people working on the roadway in our town. That was 1/8 of a mile. And it took them a year and a half to do this. And it's still not done. It's Olivia, tell them.
Awful. The road was perfect when we moved in. It needed no work. And they started spring of 2020. It was more like June-ish maybe. And they just finished like 4 months ago. And it is awful. It's like this the whole way. It's horrible. And
have you guys noticed when you're voting though in Western Loudoun, like if you go to all the local elections, it's almost always on the ballot about improving the roadways and the taxes.
Right.
Like,
and I always deny it.
Yeah,
I always look at it, raising and then I say no.
Yeah. It's like, and some of this money will go to support the school system. No, thank you. Like,
nope, not
yeah, it's like literally on every single.
I say no to everything, unless it's bringing a hockey team. If it's bringing a hockey team to Purcellville, the answer is no on everything else. Leroy, go ahead.
In northern Ohio, in all of Ohio, actually, it's kind of a running joke here is that the state flower is the orange barrel, and in northern Ohio, in northern Ohio, I'm not joking when I say this. Parts of 480, parts of 271, parts of 77 and 71 have literally either been under state of deconstruction or construction.
Oh God!
And I'm not. This is not an exaggeration.
Hold on, dude. Can we stop? That's too funny. Just stop talking, dude. We got to go with this. The state bird is essentially a road safety vet's, folded into origami, right? And what would the seal be of Ohio? Department of Transportation in Ohio, we trust. Oh Lord!
But,
so you guys are under permanent construction.
Oh, it's 12 years. 12 years for the same roughly 25 miles of freeway.
That's Phoenix. Phoenix is the same way. Phoenix was perpetually under. There's only 3 roads in Phoenix. There's the 101, the 202, the 303. And they're always perpetually under a state of construction.
And 17.
And 17, right? Yep, 17 goes up the middle.
Man.
It's
you got to think about Maryland, too. Maryland, their beltway around Baltimore, 100% always under construction, and their speed limit is way too low. And it's
insane. It's insane. Here's the thing that I will say. If I was the constituent of that state, I would mail a letter to the governor and I'd get a movement saying, congratulations, governor. 12 days is an amazing accomplishment. Ungodly. The fact that you guys got past the curing of concrete that usually takes 90 days. The fact that you use literally slabs of already cured concrete, laid them on top of each other. It's ingenious. You guys did an amazing job. You closed the underpass completely, blocked that off and rerouted that area. Fantastic. Good for you. But if anything now, by the size and feet that you had, 12 days to basically do 100 feet, say, every road project in Pennsylvania, we're going to give you basically every day gives you 10 feet. That's the math. If you don't meet this goal in every road project from now on, you're fired and we're going to replace you. You've set the standard. This is the problem when you raise the bar so high. When you run the 40 and 4.2, you set the standard that everyone has to achieve 4.2. Everything should be done in a quick and expedient manner. But here's the problem. It won't be. They show that they can do it. So why don't they do it all the time? Why is it always during crises that we have to perform our best? The Chinese put up a 110-story building in 27 days. Would anybody like me to tell you that again? 127-story building in 27 days.
Yeah, did they build like a 4-story hospital in 24 hours or something during COVID?
Yeah, like 37 hours. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and so I'd like to make it clear that I don't want anyone changing the channel right now, but John Stossel did an excellent piece where he talked about construction of the Empire State Building versus the World Trade Center. And the difference was that the Empire State Building went up in like, it was like it wasn't 3 months, but it was not very long, versus the World Trade Center, which took years. And he's basically saying, look, the one is not that much. I mean, it is taller, but it's not that much taller. Why? Why did it take so long? And then he breaks it down. It all turns into regulation, rules on how to construct this stuff. You know, the contracts that get put into play. Yeah.
The jury's back, and they're saying, don't be an asshole. Hi, guys. I don't want anyone to leave the show, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you about another show that you should go watch right now. Nice job, Leroy. Thanks. Well, we have 4 people watching now. We just dropped 122 viewers in 3 minutes. Look at they've all left a smoke screen in their wake, and it says, I'm going to John Stossel's site. This is great. John Stossel's amazing, by the way. He's very, very smart. Let's get into it. This is I know I was teasing. Don't do it later. Just watch old Don't Unfriend Me reruns. Thank you. We're getting into it now. Hunter Biden's story. I mean, this is why everyone's here. Alex, sorry that you were off screen for a second, buddy. I didn't have you on there.
Don't worry about it.
Merrick Garland is now under the wire. And he's the attorney general, Alex, if you don't know. So he essentially is the head attorney for the United States. He basically is supposed to ensure everything outside of the district court that is not handled by Supreme Courts or oversights and jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is ultimately his responsibility, which would fall under everything but the judges, circuits, and district courts. What he falls under are the law enforcement agencies of the United States. He is the second highest form of law enforcement in the United States outside of the President of the United States. However, the President of the United States doesn't have the authority to conduct investigations or authorize investigations through the Attorney General office or the Department of Justice, unless you're Joe Biden or Barack Obama. Okay. If you're those two presidents, if you're Biden, you have complete full control of the IRS and every single alphabet agency to use at your discretion to go after your political opponents. I'm talking a little bit of tongue in cheek here. It's not okay, but that's what they do anyway. Here's Merrick Garland. He is now, Kevin McCarthy, about 3 hours ago, went on Fox News and said they are moving with articles of impeachment towards Merrick Garland by July 6th. If the whistleblower testimony, if the cooperation from the Department of Justice and his office does not begin, they are filing articles of impeachment to remove him. I'm going to walk out through the whole thing with you. Someone also made a comment. Matt, did you tell me to whop that out of your mind? It was whomp that out of your mind, not whop. I didn't ask you to go ahead and immigrate in an Italian here and then have him slap you across the head. I was saying whomp, like a whomping willow, to whack or to throttle or to stomp or to pummel with impunity. To whomp. Right. Whomp, 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 whomp. That's to whomp out of your head. Since Olivia's not using a soundboard tonight, I will do it. Here's Merrick Garland. I want you to listen to this. And I just want you to listen to these videos because the unease from our federal government right now and the administration for Biden is they are all nervous as whores in church. I mean, I'm not kidding. Every one of these interviews, they're all like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They're getting irritated. They're getting frustrated. They're getting upset. And they're trying to shill for their boss, knowing that everything that they're saying is going to get him called into a grand jury and indicted. Everyone's not touching his. KJP will not defend him. Secretary of State won't defend him. Nobody will defend Biden. Here it is.
Talking point on the campaign trail, the alleged corruption in the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies. Do the American people have cause to be concerned about the integrity of the components of this Justice Department, and what do you have to say about how they're acting?
I certainly understand that some have chosen to attack the integrity of the Justice Department and its components and its employees by claiming that we do not treat like cases alike. This constitutes an attack on an institution that is essential to American democracy and essential to the safety of the American people.
So, if you question the DOJ, the FBI, or any alphabet agency, you are threatening democracy. It's not just Donald Trump's a threat anymore. It is now you're the threat for even questioning. This is Claude Pierre John Paul II. And she has, I want you to look at her face. I want you to look at her reaction. And she seems tense, man. First of all, she's not wearing a day glow color, so you know there's a big sign there. It's not neon green, neon yellow, neon orange. It is a pastel blue, and the turkey is done. It must be cold in that office because
I think that's the darts in her dress, maybe.
No, I think she's pointing at 3:00. Nope, I know the difference between a dart and a nipple. I'm just letting you know. I'm a man. I stare at them constantly. That is a nipple.
It's probably nipple.
Just let you know.
And secondly, the president invited his son Hunter to the state dinner last night. I'm wondering if you could take us into the thinking and
Dude, these aren't Fox News people. This is the media, and they are grilling them.
Yeah,
it is.
I've been listening to this a lot lately, and I love it.
I love it too. Well, I love it because they're trying to save their ass because they know Biden's going to get mopped. Listen, anybody that thinks Biden has a chance of getting reelected, you folks need to wake up. Dude, the numbers are complete dog shit. I mean, they are horrible. The left knows what's going on. Why do you think they have the backup plan in Newsom running in California, literally campaigning, even though he's not trying to get elected? That's why DeSantis is going through this, folks, is because he's a backup to Donald Trump in case Donald Trump gets clacked. Listen.
I'm just not going to get into family discussion, personal family discussion. As you know, Hunter's.
Okay. Do you want to know how I know it's not the dart? Because if you look at the subtle underscore here, you can see the curvation of her tiny little boobies. And then there's a circle. Darts literally are a U hump, and they point out. Right.
Well, you're going to do the show on this.
Listen, you wanted the truth, and I'm here to bring you the truth. That's a nipple, not a dart.
In personal family discussion, as you know, Hunter's his son. I'm just not going to get into it.
Let me ask you this. If Hunter Biden wasn't the president's son, would he have invited someone who had just reached a plea agreement with federal prosecutors to visit?
A couple of things.
I'm going to call it a napart. It's part nipple, part dart. It's a little bit of both.
Right.
It's an amalgamation of both. It's an apart. It's not a full nipple. It's not a full dart. It's an apart.
Again, that's his son.
Ooh.
He's a family member. It is not uncommon for family members to attend events at the White House. You could look at past presidents. I'm sure
She's
you
so
have.
nervous.
So that is not uncommon. As it relates to anything related to Hunter, I'm just not going to respond to it from here.
Why?
Can I follow up on that?
I just called on somebody. Go ahead.
So Kirby wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of a coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us.
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't appreciate this at all. She's so oh my God, I'm losing the room. They're starting to ask questions. What the hell is going on?
That is the
somebody go invade Ukraine.
That is the actual slip that when someone says, "Oh, I love this," no, they hate it. They absolutely
she hates it.
hate
yeah.
And you can
tell
tell
can
that
somebody
by
set
the
up
way
a Chinese spy balloon or sink a sub or some shit? Because this stuff is obnoxious.
Isn't Rona becoming a thing again? Somebody help.
Is there a variant out there that we can move to? Something? Anything? Any distraction, please? I'm switching it. Sorry, babe. That's okay. Take the ad off. All right, here we go.
So he has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared. And so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here. Text message. I will. What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Council. I just don't have anything else to share. I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, I just answered the question. I just said. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Council has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
Can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Council so we have it from you?
Okay, people, it's not a nipple piercing, okay? I'm telling you, a nipple piercing would go out even at a low 18 or 20 gauge. It doesn't. It literally is the circular. Even the dart is being pushed out. Folks, I know my nipples. Olivia, tell them I know what I'm talking about. That's not a nipple ring. I'm just letting you know, there's no gauge, there's no ring, there's nothing.
I do not have nipple rings, people.
It is a very subtle, and supple breast of an A-sized woman who is extremely percolating because her turkey is done. It is cold in that office or something.
No, she looks like she could dial a phone with those things.
Or put an eye out. She's like, you know what? I'm surprised at this point she's not trying anything and lifting up her blouse and going, there, look at these. Just stop asking questions. It's not a nipple ring, okay? It's fucking cold in here. All right, here we go.
I would refer you to them and they will share their statement with all of you.
Your statements from that podium. You've stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Council.
Nope.
Change?
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The president was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Council. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, have you spoken to the president about this? Have you asked him whether he was there with his son?
Karine, did you have a fight with an ice cube before you took the podium or something? Because we all want to know what's going on. I mean, seriously, it's really distracting. It basically looks like you have 4 eyes. It's getting out of hand.
On July 30th?
This is not a conversation that I've had with the president. Again, I would refer you to the White House Council.
Do you plan to have that conversation with the president?
No.
Did the president speak with the attorney general at all last night?
I cannot say if the president had a conversation with the attorney general last night. What I can refer you to is the White House Counsel's office as it relates to the allegations. They've already addressed this. This is something for them to deal with. I refer you to the Department of Justice on anything else if you don't want to speak to the White House Counsel's office.
KJP, would you like to go ahead and address the African diamond smuggling operation where they are struggling to find laser equipment to cut diamonds properly? We were wondering if we could use your nipples and we'll give you 7% of the cuts. I mean, those things are, God, they're made of titanium.
Did you get anything out of this video except her nipples are perky?
That's pretty much all she's giving. I mean, is she saying anything else other than her nipples are perky?
That's a good point.
I mean, I hate to say it. I'm not trying to fixate on her nipples, but if she said anything that was somewhat redeeming, I would move on. But I can't because those things are just staring at me in the face.
The plea agreement was reached by Hunter
Almost
Biden.
done.
That the president felt relieved that part of it was behind him. Is that true? Can you speak
I can't
to
speak
his
to that. I cannot speak to the president's mindset. Again, I would refer you to the White House Counsel's office.
So quickly before
Can you answer anything?
before I kick it over to Amy, you guys understand I'm kidding about the nipple thing. Whatever. Who gives a shit? She deserves it. When your state-run media turns against you, but they are like, okay, Hunter Biden laptop, FISA warrants, Stormy Daniels, 2.5 impeachments, multiple court cases. I think the media is finally saying, okay, this shit is ridiculous. We need to stop hitting Trump so hard, and we need to go after the sitting president of the United States because we are shills, and we're being made a fool of. And we're being told that 4% inflation is good. We're being told that the economy is perfect and jobs are at a record high. They're just lying. And the media is sitting there going, yep. And they're finally, I think they're saying, okay, you know what? Screw this. If we have any credibility, any chance of coming out of this alive, we have to say something. Leroy, go.
One thing that wasn't mentioned that I really, and I don't know that it was asked of her during the entire, course of that, but the "What's up" messaging that occurred between Hunter, apparently, the WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
WhatsApp, you old fart.
Whatever. Between him and apparently some counterpart in China, where he was trying to lean on him for apparently some sum of money, is what it sounded like. And there was some threats going back and forth. That was heavy in the news. And I was kind of shocked that it got as much traction as it did, although not as much, apparently. I just wish something. Good Lord.
Liv, you can't. Liv, stop it. That's not appropriate, Liv. God, stop it. I told you to find a picture of KJP, not her nipples.
Boobies.
Mama.
Mama.
It's probably because you got a nice picture.
All right, Amy,
Everyone's
go
been
ahead.
so nice.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, but to what Leroy said first, I can't say the word first. I was just pointing this, my family has pointed out to me, my children, so I'm trying to work on my pronunciation of the word first.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a lot.
She got
That's
nippled up.
deep. So first,
Listen,
yeah,
Amy, you
right,
should really nip that in the bud.
Yeah, I want to be that skinny. Like that's like my goal. My boobs are almost that big. Anyways,
Jesus, dear.
So yes,
What? It's just nipples in a shirt. If KJP can do it on the national stage, why can't I do it on my show? It's just nipples, folks. It's not like I'm showing nudie nipples. I'm just showing. I'm showing people who are. Go ahead.
I did it on my MySpace page,
no.
but nobody gave me anything. OnlyFans.
I guys got a picture of KJP's dog here. And unfortunately, she just had a horrible nipple accident, and it won't let go, and it's just so horrible. Go ahead, Amy. I'm so sorry.
God.
So immature. I apologize.
It's fine. It's actually going to tie into what I'm going to say here.
Okay.
So what they were talking about, the WhatsApp information, I actually am really surprised too, that they gave it so much credit, because just because Hunter is saying something in a text message doesn't mean that it's going to be corroborated by the sitting president. He's obviously going to deny this, which is probable, deniability, and it's not going to be counted for anything as far as evidence goes. That's just my opinion. Right. I'm not an attorney, but I feel like I know a little bit about the law. To go back to what KJP, golly, I've never really liked her. And it's not because I actually wanted to like her, because I've hated like the last, Peppermint Patty was terrible. I don't like any of them, right? So it's really hard. I wanted to like her, but she needs some media training. She can't keep her S together. She's so discombobulated. She's so flustered that she's just coming across nasty and like cynical and just like not nice and approachable, which if you're the White House press secretary, you should be able to be approached, and that's by all party lines, by Joe Schmo on the street, because you should know all of your shit, excuse my language. You should have it all down pat. That's your only job, is to study what to say, and she never knows what to say, and it's just
it's
really
almost like she covers her ignorance with condescending to the group, right?
Yeah, it's just not classy. It's so classless. It's like, come on, be better, do better, want better for yourself. I don't know.
She should be lactating information up there. I mean, it should just be flowing.
Okay, so that page I just airdropped you need to put one of those.
Look at this
pictures
shit.
up there for the
Olivia
ladies.
just sent me this. Sexy fireman.
Damn
posing.
right I did. You're gonna show nipple pictures, so it's up for the ladies in the audience.
Everything was closed. These guys are half naked. This is unacceptable. This is smut.
But
and
there's
this,
puppies in some of the
this
pictures.
This
Absolutely.
This is unacceptable. I don't appreciate this type of behavior. Alex, do you have a thought process on KJP and the American press? I know what you're going to say. No, not really, but I'd like to go ahead and ask you anyway.
I'm quite surprised of how biased in terms of how she takes the questioning and how she actually refuses to answer them. That's something that baffles me a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Now, let me ask you a question. With your expertise, was that a nipple ring or was she ready for dinner? I'm just
This is going to be called the Nipplegate show.
Nipplegate. Oh, I'm gonna cut this.
You need to give credit to Rhonda for that one. Rhonda Edwards. She just said it.
Oh, at least you gave credit this time. Just didn't steal it from somebody like you usually do.
See, all the women are thanking me.
Why are they thanking you?
Because I made you put pictures of sexy firemen up.
Well, listen, I'm an equal opportunity employer, so I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable in my sexuality where I can go ahead and show that. The next thing I want to show you guys, and if this frustrates you, and this is just, I'm giving examples of how the administration is truly falling apart, and how the media just absolutely crushed them. This is Jonathan. Is it Turley or Hurley? I think it's Hurley. For Fox. And I want you just to listen to this. And I had written a show and I stopped it. And the reason why is because sometimes I'll go in sync with people and we'll kind of think the same thing. And this is exactly very much what I wrote. And then I'm like, shit. Because then I heard it on Fox. I'm like, well, I can't really do that because I'm kind of stealing his concept. But this is pretty much right where I was at with this whole thing. Listen.
Let's be
Turley. That's right. Jonathan Turley. Elizabeth Hurley. She has good nipples too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
be honest about this. We have photos of the president with business associates of his son. We have emails on his laptop referring to meetings and dinners. There's an audio tape of the president leaving a message for Hunter talking about a story about his business dealings. I mean, at some point, you have to basically call this one and say it's clearly not true. But that's going to be the least of his concerns going forward, because the different accounts that we've heard about what happened in this investigation cannot be reconciled. Somebody's lying. And there's real criminal and impeachable conduct that can be raised. And that means that Congress's power is at its apex. It can move forward. And
this is important, but Karen just says, no nipple ring. I'm a body piercer by trade. So I'm just letting you know, just in.
Needs to move forward, and it has a full array of powers to do that with.
And you write that in your piece, who is lying, Merrick Garland or the whistleblowers? The only thing abundantly clear, you say, is that someone is lying. Either these whistleblowers are lying to Congress or these Justice Department officials, including Garland, are lying. The response from both Hunter Biden's counsel and the Attorney General himself only deepened the concerns. So how's this going to...
I just want to make sure everyone understands. When Vindman whistleblew against Donald Trump, they did a formal impeachment, an investigation into him based on circumstantial, non-corroborated evidence. You have multiple whistleblowers. You've got evidence on a laptop. You have voices. You have text messages. You have the code breaking machine for what the big guy stands for. You have receipts. You have deposits, and they won't go after him. I'm telling you, folks, this is a monumental thing. This is going to unravel the Biden presidency, whether it is in 2024 and beyond. But this guy is going to be held accountable for this. They're pressuring. And when the left media gets involved, you know they've got something. You know they've got something. You know they're pissed because they're being lied to. And when this whole thing comes down, you guys are going to find this out about COVID. You're going to find out about Ukraine. You're going to find about all this crap we've been lied to. And they are continuing to do it. And it's all unraveling. Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, and it's all an attempt at misdirection, is it not? So I actually saved a graphic, and I hadn't sent it over to you yet, but this was from last month. There was a poll conducted by the Washington Post and ABC on 428, between 428 and 53, and the poll basically said, "Do you think Donald Trump and Joe Biden have the mental sharpness to take what it the mental sharpness to do what it takes to serve?" And 32% for Biden said yes, 63% said no, 54% were for Trump. That was a yes, and then 43% said no. And then since then, there's been other polls done that basically show that Joe has one of the hires that he had gotten was a 36% approval rating, but a 56% disapproval rating. So when you're looking at these polls, which are not that old, and then you start realizing that all of these other headlines are intended to kind of give some level of misdirection so that they can figure out how the hell they're going to rebound from this and try and pump up those numbers, because those are rookie numbers. And it's all it's going to culminate in the 2024 election. They're trying to figure out how they can turn this around now. And in the meantime, all we're seeing is a lot of misdirection. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Isn't it amazing that they're like, what, month ago, off with Trump's head, off with Trump's head, off with Trump's head. You know what? We'll get to Trump. Let's go after Biden a little bit. And this is what's been needed for a long time. I think the press are being tired of being lied to. I think they're tired of getting fired. I think they're tired of getting removed from their shows because they're shilling for one side. I think they're sick and tired and they're taking it back. And good for them. It's about time the press did something. This reminds me of a 1980s press room talking to Reagan, 1984, because this is what it used to sound like. This is as contentious as it would be. Arlie Fleischer was the goaltender. He would literally be stopping shots left and right coming at his head. This is the type of thing we need. Even Stephanopoulos did a good job on this type of stuff. This is the way press rooms used to be. They used to be aggressive, they used to be aggravated, and everybody was on the same page. And I love how they're saying, I'm supporting my colleague, and there's only one person, actually two people you should thank for this. And you may not like this when I say this, Jim Acosta and Peter Doocy. Jim Acosta is an impeccable douchebag. I despise him, and I think he's a fucking navel lint. Pardon my French.
I agree.
But you know what? He allowed this to happen. He allowed this to be okay. And Doocy came in there and fulfilled Acosta's role, and they both have brought back some sort of civility, whether you agree on either side with what they say, because they both are extremely ingrained in their ideological entrenchment, but they gave permission for that room to start challenging. Go ahead. Who wanted to say something? Alex, were you looking to say something?
No, I just affirmed that I agreed.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, what they did was they opened the door, and once you do that and you crack the door open and expose the current administration for some level of criticism, right? And it doesn't matter if it's from the left or the right, more people that hear that are going to go, yeah, that makes sense. And they're going to want to know more. That's the Streisand effect. Like when you try and hide something, then people will want to know more about it.
Yes. Well, the thing about Peter Doocy is that you notice he hadn't said anything, because if you're doing your job correctly and you're leading, people will follow. And Jim Acosta is a pig. Absolutely. But you know what? Every single reporter stood up for him in that room. Every one of them, even the Fox people, and they don't like him, but he's a reporter and he has a right to ask his questions, no matter how annoying he is. And Peter Doocy is the Jim Acosta for the right. But those two brought it back. And without them, I don't think this would be happening right now. Let's finish this Turley thing, because there's so many things I want to show you tonight. And then I want to go fight evil with Olivia.
To go forward here.
Well, Congress needs to start bringing people in. There's nothing that concentrates the mind as much as a congressional subpoena. Hunter Biden should be called in. We need to stop the nonsense. His team is still suggesting that maybe the laptop isn't ours. Maybe this is not his message. All right, call him in. And let's get an answer on the record what this is about. Notably, that the Chinese businessman that was the subject of that WhatsApp message did not appear to send back a message saying someone hacked you or I just got a bizarre message. Instead, the House is suggesting that he sent millions of dollars after Hunter Biden made that threat that his father was joining him in demanding this money. Well, the House has now documented dozens of accounts and corporations used to transfer money to the Biden family. It is a very serious corruption scandal, whether the media wants to cover it or not.
Well, let's
be honest about this.
Here's the next one that I wanted to show you. Here's the whistleblower reaction. Jim Jordan comes in too, and I'm going to hold Jim Jordan for the end because I think the reaction is just one more piece that shows you how nervous they all are. Here it is. Just watch their face and watch the aggression. This is probably the most telling about how aggressive they are and pissed off that they are. They don't want to be held accountable with this. Nobody's defending him. Nobody will. And they know because they're all going to be subpoenaed. The whole entire administration is going to get subpoenaed over this. Now, if they show up, are they going to do what Trump did and say executive privilege? You know they are. And you know they're going to frickin', when he gets out of office, he's going to go ahead and pardon his own son and pardon himself. This is the type of shit that happens. There needs to be accountability.
The Means Committee yesterday released documents, their authenticity nowhere challenged.
Listen to
that
this.
included a July 2017 WhatsApp message sent by Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao,
Listen
a Chinese Communist Party official, which stated in its entirety, and I quote, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father," unquote. So just a couple of questions about this. First, does this not undermine the president's claim during the 2020 campaign and the reaffirmations of that claim by his two press secretaries since then, that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with him?
No, and I'm not going to comment further on this.
We're good.
I'm not. James, let me save you some. Let me save you some breath. If you're going to ask about this, I am not addressing. I know you do more than I'd like you to have. I am not going to address this issue from this podium. I'm just not going to do it.
All right.
I'm not going to do it.
Where was the president on the day of that
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a great
Watch
night.
Right out the
KJP.
door he goes.
Look at her face. Look at that end part where she tilts her head like a disappointed mother nipping.
Here's the problem.
Oh,
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Especially with how muggy it's been in DC lately. Like,
It is a little muggy. I don't understand. The
Right,
AC
that-
must be cranked up. The AC has to be turned up. I mean, or she's, taking ice baths in her break. Listen, I know we all have a lot to say on this. I want to listen to the Jim Jordan thing, and then I want to open this up for comment because the whistleblower documents are going to put it. I've got two documents here you have to see. If you haven't seen these are the released whistleblower documents. And when I say released, I'm saying semi-released, unredacted. So I really want to show these to you because I don't think you guys have seen these because nobody else has them. Or they do, and they're not sharing them because I haven't seen these anywhere. So hold on a second.
I'll have to get going. Take care, guys.
Alex, we love you, buddy. Sorry we were so. This is kind of a
Yeah.
crazy segment,
Love you,
but we
buddy.
love you, man. We miss you.
Take
Thanks
care,
for
take care.
calling.
Bye-bye.
All right,
I'm
but
gonna
he
step
actually
out
said
to see
goodbye.
what's going on in my house really quick, just to make sure no one's dying. I'll be right back. I'll be like right back.
That's always a good sign.
All
right, take a listen to this.
Think about this. The Attorney General told us he's going to take a hands-off approach. David Weiss, the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, he can run the case like he wants. But then David Weiss was asked to get special counsel status, and he's turned down. For goodness sake, if this case doesn't warrant special counsel status, I don't know what does. But they denied that to him. So you can't have the Attorney General saying, "Oh, I've taken a hands-off approach," and then this happened where he was denied. David Weiss was denied special counsel status. So I think when you step back and look at this, first of all, look at the credibility of these whistleblowers. Mr. Shapley, 14 years at the IRS, handled some of the biggest cases they've ever had. Then there's the anonymous whistleblower who had the same kind of background. These guys are credible people who've come forward. Second, you have the Attorney General, what he said. He was going to take a hands-off approach, but obviously he did it. And then third, you have the facts. You have the Assistant U.S. Attorney, Leslie Wolf, who said that she tipped off Biden's lawyers.
David Johnson says, it was a text message. Until we prove that Joe was there, then this is a non-story. If this was Donald Trump, you would strap him by the balls and hang him from a tree. Don't give me that shit. You guys went ahead and did a full-blown investigation and impeachment on Trump that cost over $37 million on misnomers and a lie by the DNC. Don't give me this crap. If there's smoke, there's fire. You investigate. That's their job. We have to go ahead and all allegations, especially on a whistleblower, have to be investigated. This isn't just about Biden. We've said on this show repeatedly that Trump needs to be investigated, and I've said that he's guilty of obstruction and absolutely needs to be held accountable. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that all this stuff doesn't add up to something. They have ledgers, they have whistleblowers, they have affidavits, they have testimony, they have Joe Biden saying it on tape about Burisma, that he's withholding $1 billion from him and blackmailing him with quid pro quo. You have it with the frickin' premier of Afghanistan where he pulled intel and overall intelligence and flight operations if he didn't go ahead and follow suit. What do you want, man? I'm not mad at you, but dude, you can't sit here and say it's a non-story. It's absolutely a story. Why do you think the press is doing it? Your own press is saying this. You have news media lathering up, flipping out over this, who are from the left. That was MSNBC. That was the Huffington Post and CNN, man. That wasn't Fox News. Even when it's right in front of you, and I've been saying this for 3 years, even if it's right in front of you, you guys will protect Biden to the end. You are just as bad as the far right, who won't freaking admit when Donald Trump has done something wrong. It's incredulous. I don't understand.
When they were getting ready to do something, she told Mr. Shapley that he couldn't ask about the big guy, couldn't ask about Joe Biden, and couldn't use the term the big guy, even though they had that email. She limited what they could do in their investigation. I mean, that is just as wrong as it gets. So we want to make sure we get a chance to talk to this Leslie Wolf, the assistant U.S. attorney who was handling this case in Mr. Weiss's office there in Delaware. We think that's important as we move forward with this investigation.
All right, so let me get to the documents, and then I'll open it up for full conversation. I know we got a lot to say. People are hot. I'm not mad. I don't mind people saying there's no there there. But, dude, you can't sit here and keep ignoring the signs. If there was a text message from Donald Trump, you guys flipped out over his Twitter. You held an entire January 6th commission, an entire commission for 2.5 months, millions of dollars based on this guy's tweets. And you're going to sit here and tell me that a text message, at least somebody who tweets usually has a stand-in, somebody tweeting for them, a publicist or a marketer. You have a text message, that's your phone, and you know it's his phone, and you know the big guy's Joe Biden. You know it is. So stop pretending. You also know he has classified documents. You guys don't care about that either. You've got to start holding him accountable, because this isn't about us versus each other. It's us versus them. This is dangerous. And when they have unfettered access to this type of manipulation, the only people who get hurt are us. You know this, right?
Right.
You don't sell out to China. You don't take foreign dollars. Prove to me that Donald Trump took money from Russia that didn't have to do with hotels and his family holdings 12 years before he even became president. I can show you receipts, and have done it on this show, that Joe Biden has taken money from the CCP, Communist Party of China, from Iran, from Korea. This guy has taken money from the worst sorts of people, and people that we call enemies. We can't even sell Apple computers in Iran, but we can take money from Iran? Something is rotten in Denmark. And until you guys open your eyes, this is going to be what it's about. It's going to be us versus each other. This is stupid. The guy's crooked. He's been crooked his whole life. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just frustrated, man. And I don't mind people challenging, but dude, come on. You can't keep making excuses for this guy.
Donald Trump is the most investigated man in history. And if we spent half of the amount that we spent on Donald Trump and started looking into some of what the Bidens had done, right? I think that the ultimate conclusion would be somebody would be facing a lot more jail time. And just for frame of reference, right? When we're talking about Hunter, he pled guilty to 2 misdemeanor crimes. One of them was a tax crime, tax evasion, and the other one was illegally possessing a gun while admitting to be a drug user. So he lied on a federal form. Now, between those 2 things, okay, he already pled guilty. Now we're looking at this potential text message that came from WhatsApp and threatening, somebody in China for what seems like almost extortion. Do this for us or else I'm going to get my daddy involved. I think we have to get to a point, and Matt is absolutely right. When we're talking about Donald Trump, or when we're talking about anybody on the left, when we're talking about anybody who is in our political system that has broken the rules, that has broken the laws, I don't care what side they're on, left or right. Please hold them accountable, because ultimately, at the end of the day, these people are writing policy that govern our lives, and they shouldn't be criminals.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Let's get into this real quick, and I want to read this real quick. Dear Chairman Smith, and then whoever said they had a question, ask your question. This is an open forum, and Olivia's watching, and she's going to get to it, even though Olivia's not saying a whole bunch. But Halima Cuba, it's an interesting name. You can ask whatever you want. Dear Chairman Smith and Ranking Member Neal, on behalf of my client, Mr. X, I thank you for inviting him to testify recently before the professional staff of the Ways and Means Committee in bipartisan process. I greatly appreciate the courtesies that the staff extended to my client. After having been given an opportunity to review the transcript of his interview, Mr. X thought it would be helpful for the committee to clarify and update the transcript throughout this letter. The clarification, Mr. X recalls in his testimony that he was told roughly 5 years ago by a supervisor that it was then Attorney General William Barr who directed that he proposed case be merged with an ongoing case in Delaware. Mr. X's confidence, he was told by his supervisor that the merging of the cases was at the direction of the official Department of Justice. However, on further reflection, Mr. X cannot definitively state that this then supervisor said that the Department of Justice official directing the merger of the case was A.G. Barr. Separate from that conversation with his supervisor, Mr. X has no independent knowledge of who at the Department of Justice directed that case be merged. The update. She wants out. Just leave it open. Since Mr. X's testimony, there has been multiple news articles recently that reference an FBI Form 1023 document regarding information provided from a confidential human source in June of 20. This information provided on this Form 1023 related to the subject and company XXX. In news articles, former AG William Barr is cited in saying that this Form 1023 was reviewed by the Western District of Pennsylvania and was ultimately shared with David Weiss, U.S. Attorney overseeing the investigation. Second page. As Mr. X has testified, he was the IRS CI, confidential informant case agent over the subject investigation at the time. And Mr. X has stated to me that he has never seen this FBI Form 1023 and that he does not recall ever hearing about this information being turned over in any meetings with the prosecution team in Delaware. Further, Mr. X informed me that this information could have been relevant to Mr. X's investigation at the time of the subject as it related to a claim of $5 million being paid to the subject, which directly ties to email correspondence reviewed between subject and a business partner sent to in May of 2014, which is believed to reference the $5 million being paid to subject from company blank, blank, blank. I hope this information assists the committee in its review and consideration of this matter. That is in direct reflection to Joseph R. Biden. And he is ultimately saying that this information was never brought into the case in Delaware and essentially never found its way there. That is obstruction right there. That is a cover-up right there. This guy has been in the IRS for how long? Either you trust the government or you don't. You want to add, what, how many thousands? 80,000 some odd IRS agents, but now you don't trust them? Either we have to start listening to all these CIs and all of these whistleblowers, or all of this stuff, including any investigation on Donald Trump, is no longer valid because you're going off of whistleblower, you're going off anonymous sources, you're going off of people who have an axe to grind. You have actual people who are lying under oath is what you're saying. Do you understand how serious that is? I'd like to get the panel's ideas. I want to get your thoughts on what you just heard and anything else. Go ahead.
Leroy.
Nobody has anything.
I missed half of it, unfortunately. So
essentially, okay.
Yeah.
I just showed you 5 videos and a letter stating that evidence of Joe Biden taking $5 million in money from unknown company, which we all know is China and the CCP. They have that evidence, and it was supposed to be forwarded to Delaware, which was doing an investigation on Hunter and the current investigation into Joe Biden. And they were saying that AG Barr is the one that said it was to be done, but the CI says we have no information of that. I don't remember that. I never saw the document. I never saw this information, but it would have been helpful in our investigation. So essentially they withheld evidence that could have added serious implications to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden, but it was essentially not sent like it was supposed to be. This is... So it comes down to this. Either you have people, which is more probable? The United States, which has literally been strung through the mud for the last 6 years with Donald Trump, with the left trying to get him in every way possible, calling him Hitler, which basically means anything that they do is 100% acceptable, to remove him and get him out as much and as often and quickly as they can. You have Barack Obama, who had everything overturned, who hated Donald Trump, where all of his executive orders that were unconstitutional were turned over by Trump in his first 90 days of office. You have Joe Biden, who wins the election, puts them back on and does everything that they say. They spy on Trump's campaign. They try to remove him for 4 years. And now If you think that that's what happened and you believe that's what happened, and most people with a brain do agree with that, then what makes you think they wouldn't protect a president? If they can take a president down, what makes you think they can't protect one, especially one who's broken the law? That's the whole point of this, and that's the question.
I mean, I think it goes back to what was speculated upon by and large before the election happened, and this is what the right was saying, right? Like, this is, if we had this information before the election happened, I think a lot of people would have changed the way they voted. I still don't subscribe to like Joe Biden actually getting in trouble. Do I think should be held accountable? Of course I do. However, history keeps repeating itself. I feel like there's nothing that's going to come of this. Maybe he'll get pulled into court. Maybe they'll pay some fines. But other than that, like, really, what are the true consequences that are going to happen to the Biden family?
I'll tell you, is that he will lose the election.
Yeah, well, I hope so anyway. I feel like that.
How can we hope? Listen,
fingers crossed.
Here's the thing. The American people aren't stupid. Okay? They may make poor decisions, but the worst thing that can possibly happen is that this is what we said would happen. If they kept going after Trump, America would be anesthetized to it. It would just become numb for them, like Novocaine. And eventually they will turn on you. You're seeing people turning on Joe Biden. You're seeing people now, the left. This is unprecedented for the left. They haven't done this in 15 years. They never went after Obama like this. The gun running to Cuba or to Mexico with Fast and Furious, the pallets of cash to Iran, nobody cared. Nobody gave a shit. His $1 million fine for election campaign finance violations, the press never asked him about that. Nobody asked him about H1N1. Nobody cared. They just let him do whatever they wanted. You haven't seen this since George Bush, but they're in a frenzy now. And the press know that they're going to lose this election. They're all swimming upstream in this because they know Biden's numbers. They're worse than any other president in history. He is absolutely sinking like the Titanic or a sub. Leroy?
Well, and there's a big part of this. That also calls into the question one of momentum, right? It's easy enough if it's only one story or maybe a snippet or a soundbite to dismiss something and say, oh, that's just right-wing propaganda or left-wing propaganda. It doesn't matter. But the more of this kind of thing that starts happening, the more these headlines start to pick up momentum. And as they do, it's a whole lot harder to stop them as you close in on election day. And the fact of the matter is, when we're talking about this $5 million and when we're talking about the WhatsApp text message, that supposedly
just
took
call
place
it
between
sup.
Hunter.
Just call it sup.
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 And when we're talking about Hunter already pleading guilty towards the gun thing and tax evasion, that's a lot of momentum. And if any more dirt gets dug up, I mean, I really can't see where there's not enough whitewash in the world to make that go away.
Well, that's the thing. We're going to go to final minute because I think we've done a good job covering what we've got. There's receipts. This is going to continue. This is not going to stop. And this is what I try to tell everybody. There is nothing like an unpopular president. I saw what they did to Carter. Okay. I saw what they did to Kennedy posthumously. Okay. I saw what they did to Bush. I saw what they did to Clinton. The media will. There's nothing more than they love than building somebody up. The only thing they love more is tearing somebody down. The last thing I'm going to say is the media right now has an opportunity. Who wants a Pulitzer? Because if I had their credentials, I'd be getting a Pulitzer Prize because I would investigate and write the story. Because the right has been writing this story for a long time. Judge Jeanine does a great job on her show going over Hunter Biden. There's like 12 series on Fox Nation. You guys can watch it. If you're a veteran, you can get it for free if you still care about watching Fox, but it's still a good show. it comes down to this. There's a Pulitzer Prize waiting for the left, and none of them will take it. I think there is a turning in our country. I think people are sick of Ukraine. I think they're sick of COVID. I think they're sick of the lies. I think this sycophantic loyalty to inflation, this sycophantic loyalty to politicians is wearing thin. They are not rock stars. They are not gods. They are not to be idolized. They are to be the purviewed, curtailed, and constantly monitored. That is their job. We should be watching them. And the Fourth Estate has failed for 20 years to hold all branches of government accountable. And it's about damn time we see it. And honestly, this is where they need to be every minute of the day, up the asses of these politicians, because we can't do it with just a vote. We can't do it with just getting people out of office. We can't do it with podcasts. It has to be the Fourth Estate, because that's their job. That's what they created in this Constitution, was to have a free and fair press that would go after and balance the inequities of each branch. They're not doing it. They failed their job, and it's good to see them finally doing something. Amy, I'll go to you after Olivia. Olivia, your final minute, whatever you got.
I have no hope that anything's going to happen to him. None. After Hillary Clinton walking and nothing being done, he's going to get away with it. Both him and Hunter, nothing's going to happen. And I have no hope that anything will. So
that's a really,
my expectations are very low right now. So
I like your new shirt.
I can't be disappointed.
I like your new shirt. Looks good.
Me too.
Assault weapon. Yes. All right. Well, that's a take. It's not what I want to hear. I mean, because honestly, it's not like you're wrong. But I still think at least it outs, right? At least it outs. At least he's not bulletproof. And that's just start the investigations. Get this on TV. Let's get him out of office at least. You may not get him with handcuffs, but you can get him with parchment and a quill.
Yeah, but are the American people actually going to listen to it?
Well, they listened to it. Listen, they didn't bring George Bush back. They didn't bring Donald Trump back. And I believe America thought that Biden was going to be a one-term president, and that's all they wanted from him. I don't think they're going to bring him back. The question is, will we have a primary candidate that actually is worth voting for? And that's going to be the question. Can Donald Trump right the ship? I don't think he can, but I still don't think he's as unpopular as Biden. Biden, listen, the only thing that helps Trump is the mutual hate that everyone has for Biden, because even his own party doesn't like him, and they certainly don't like Kamala. Amy, your final minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of with Olivia. We're like the Eeyores of this, topic. Yeah, I know. Like, I feel it's been so many years of like trying to prove that there is some there, and we're always told there's no there. So I think we're just kind of like, well, they're just going to find a loophole. They're going to find a way out. Nothing's going to happen. Maybe this will affect the election. I hope it does. I hope this isn't the deciding factor in the election. I hope that people are looking at the past 4 years when it's time and voting with some actual facts and what he has done for our country, or lack of, progress we have made. Or not for just our country, but for the entire world. As far as like the
part of the plan.
Exactly. To go back to like the trans stuff again, I feel like it's such a personal thing for me, because I'm trans now. I'm just kidding. No, just the way I said that, it was just very funny. Sorry. But I feel like it's always been a big hot topic for me. I really am getting exhausted by the trans crap. And I'm trying to see through a lot of the BS. So I'm glad that Matt pointed out that video earlier. I don't think I would have caught that. Although I do think in my mind, it was like, these people are just a-holes. They're just trying to get a rise out of the right.
Yeah.
What else did we cover tonight? I don't even know.
We covered that stupid freaking underpass that they got done in 12 days.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget the
infrastructure.
The nipples. The nipples, too.
Yes. Oh, the nipple. Yes. I don't know. I feel like, so there's like boob tape and like nipple, like the petals. Like maybe she needs like a box of those. I don't know. Maybe we need to
pasties.
Amy, boob tape?
Really
Do they?
Though. Pasties can be like.
You use boob tape? Is there any material on the planet that's strong enough to tuck those suckers in?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Not without removing some skin later.
I know. I'm like, God, you know what? If you would have been on that sub, they probably would have floated to the surface. I'm pretty sure.
God, you're so
no problem. Everybody grab one.
It would have been tried to decompress and Nope, not a
Amy, you
chance.
can
Not with these
share.
suckers.
So funny because like I will literally use a combination of literal duct tape and boob tape. You put the boob tape on first so it doesn't rip your skin, and then the duct tape to actually hold your boob rooney.
Up in Georgia. Do you have a permit for those things, ma'am? Leroy,
Right.
it's up to you. But listen, folks, that misogyny is a part of the show. If you don't like it, there's plenty of shows that don't have it. Leroy, go ahead. Say something misogynistic for us, will you?
No, I'm not going to do that. I do want to talk about something a little more serious. So while we're on the offensive in terms of trying to hang some level of guilt on the current administration for things that they would have done, we have to remember that our battle is not with the Bidens specifically, because if they leave, then the next set of lefties could come in and it's all over again. It's just this never-ending routine, this circular argument that we get into. We have to remember that, and sure, we want to hold people accountable for things that they have done, but my battle is with the left. It's with the philosophy of the left and this idea that politician over there is telling me how to run my life better than I know how to run my life. No, you don't get to tell me which rights you're ready to take a match to from the Bill of Rights because you don't like it. Right. We have to remember that the politicians that do that, we need to hold them accountable. And if we do that, and if we make it known that liberty really is, it has a definition and it means something, then very few Democrats, unless they do a huge course correction and start coming back to center, the Democrats will have voted themselves out of office, because I am of the mindset, I don't think that when you go too far left, I don't think that there's enough support out on the fringes. I think you have to be a moderate if you're going to gain office in this country.
I agree with that. And I think the polling says that. I'll just challenge one issue quickly, and then we'll call it a night, is that absolutely Joe Biden is the target. And I will tell you why Joe Biden is the target, because one of the elite has to fall. They have to. And if they don't, then you'll never have anyone held accountable. And he either needs to be voted out of office because of this, and the exit polls will show this, right? People will say, I just don't trust him. It's not about how old he is. It's not about his policies. I don't trust him. The man's corrupt. We learned this with Hillary Clinton. 2024 is shaping up to be 2016 all over again. And here's what I actually think. The numbers are actually bad for Trump, but people recognize they made a mistake voting for Biden. I believe that with all my heart. They may not like Trump. They may not want to hear him, but I'm telling you, enough people are kind of like, you know what? It was pretty damn good. And they always say the same thing. COVID had a massive impact on his numbers. Otherwise, everything was there, and they know that. And yes, he made some bad choices, and yes, he's arrogant, and yes, he picks the wrong people, all that crap. But you got to admit, life was pretty good. And all you got to do is ask people, name a policy of Donald Trump's that you didn't agree with. And most people will be like, you know what? It's not his policy that I hate about him. It's not his policy that I hate about him. And say, okay, well, then guess what? At least with Joe Biden, you hate him because of his policy. Mm-hmm. Right. Who do you want? Do you want a president you like with horrible policy that empties your pockets and hurts you? Or do you want somebody that you don't like, who gives you and stays out of your life and stays out of your pockets and provides well for the safety and security for the United States? That answer is obvious. I think people know that now.
Something real quick to that before we boogie. It was something that you said about the trusting the United States government, and it ties back into what Merrick Garland was saying about questioning central authority and how that seems to be like you're not allowed to do that anymore. But that's the whole point of the Constitution. That's the whole point of our system, is to be able to question our leaders, our elected officials, when we think that they're doing something, not on the up and up.
That's the most patriotic thing you can do, is question your officials. And people tell me all the time, oh, Matt, leave Hillary alone. Oh, Matt, leave Biden alone. Leave Trump alone. No. And that's why I'm like,
nobody gets
loyal to Trump. I'm loyal to my country. I didn't swear allegiance to Trump. I swore allegiance to the Constitution of the United States, and I protect my family. It wasn't to Trump. Commander-in-chiefs come and go. Generals come and go. The United States flag and our country is forever. So that's it. That's it. All right, folks, listen, if you have not had a chance, stop by the Don't Unfriend Me store at thedumshow.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's the most important thing. The only way we're going to get this show out, it is growing. It's nice to see. We were pushing 165 to 195 all night. Olivia's got the numbers. Were we looking pretty good for a Monday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was looking at it too.
That's what she says. Great. That's really, I feel really.
Actually, yeah, we were pretty even with Friday.
That's good. So we're gaining some traction. It's nice to see.
So it makes no difference if I'm here or not.
That's not true. We love having you here. Honestly, I think a lot of it was my attitude and getting frustrated and pissed off. I don't think a lot of people like that, and my language at times. So I did cuss a couple times tonight. I'm trying to clean it up. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just get frustrated. I'm a guy. I'm alpha. What do you want? If you want no cussing, the recorded show is great for you, and I'm doing my best here. So hang with us, even if I frustrated you tonight. Thanks for watching. Go buy a shirt, a hat. Thank Leroy. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it, and we love you. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'll have a recorded show tomorrow. We'll not be live. We'll see you Wednesday night with another show.
Night, y'all.
Say good night, everybody. All right, everybody. Good night. And remember, if you guys can pound sand. See ya. If you do not remember, go over to Rumble. Go follow, like, share. We're trying to hit 1,000. We just need 50 people to go over there and follow, like, and share on Rumble. Good night, everybody. Listen to this message, and we will see you on Wednesday night.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets. We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help, and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important. You are important. For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call